The year is 3204 in the northern divine region's Baidi city. Dark clouds loom overhead and thunder rumbles across the sky. Amidst the chaos, a lone figure floats in midair, surrounded by crackling lightning. This man is our protagonist Subai. He stands in the heart of the storm, enduring the divine thunder in hopes of ascending to immortality and entering the land of immortals. Unbeknownst to Subai, danger approaches. A female cultivator, standing upon a lotus flower, prepares a powerful divine thunder technique. With her sword raised, she launches a strike aimed directly at Subai. At the last moment, Subai manages to dodge. Barely. Though he avoids a fatal blow, the attack injures him, and he plummets to the ground. The woman descends and points her sword at him, demanding his surrender. She is Lin Wangqiu, one of Subai's own disciples. Subai, shocked and furious, can't believe that his loyal disciple would betray him. Outraged, he prepares a lethal counterattack, but before he can strike, another disciple, Bai Yuyu, launches a sneak attack from behind, piercing a hole through Subai's chest. Bai Yuyu then turns to Lin Wangqiu and insists that, despite their master's many sins, they should at least let him die with some dignity. Subai, gravely wounded, can only laugh at the betrayal. He had never treated his disciples unfairly. How could they do this to him? Enraged, he vows that he will not die alone. If he goes down, he will take them with him. Just as he is about to unleash another technique, a third disciple named Shuer activates the falling treasure copper coin, slamming Subai into the ground. He lies there, immobilized, stunned that even Shuer would side against him. Two other disciples, the eldest and the fifth, are missing, and Subai wonders about their absence. Shuer commands her master not to resist, blaming him for countless crimes that cannot be forgiven, and warning him not to blame anyone else for his fate. Hearing this, Subai only laughs and asks if they truly believe the false charges against him. But now that they have drawn their blades against him, he cannot forgive them. In desperation, Subai uses the Divine Soul's true body, law of heaven and earth technique, a self-destruction meant to drag his enemies into death with him. Realizing his intention too late, Lin Wangqiu and the others rush to stop him. She frantically asks Bai Yuyu if their senior brother, Hisayo, has a backup plan because the situation has spiraled beyond control. Regardless of their efforts, they fail to prevent the inevitable. Subai detonates his own soul's true body, obliterating himself, his disciples, and half of the continent in the cataclysmic blast. But that is not the end. When Subai next opens his eyes, he finds himself in a strange, unfamiliar place. As he tries to make sense of his surroundings, he hears frantic noises outside. Peering through a window, he sees a world overrun by a zombie apocalypse, with people fleeing for their lives as hordes of the undead roam the streets. Realizing he has been reborn, Subai's thoughts turn back to his traitorous disciples. Why would they betray him? What did they stand to gain? For now, those questions must wait. His priority is to train this new body to its peak, return to the world of immortal cultivation, and make his former disciples pay for what they did. He attempts to gather spiritual energy as he once did. His cultivation had been close to the immortal realm, so if he can just sense the ambient spirit power, he should be able to progress swiftly. Yet to his shock, he feels nothing. Thinking his body might be too weak, he looks outside again and realizes the truth. This world has no spiritual power at all. Furious, he could hardly believe it. How is this possible? Without spiritual power, there was no way for him to cultivate in this world. In fact, merely surviving here would already be extremely difficult. Just then, a man and a woman burst into the house, having barely escaped from the zombies outside. They looked terrified, as though they had nearly died. The yellow-haired boy immediately grabbed the woman. Another person, possibly named Vertical, tried to stop him, warning that her boyfriend might still be in the house, and that it would be bad if they were seen. The yellow-haired boy scoffed, telling her not to worry. Even if her boyfriend saw them, there was nothing he could do. As he removed his clothes, the woman suddenly noticed a bite mark on his arm and asked how he got wounded. The boy shrugged it off, saying he might have been bitten by those crazed people on the street and insisting it was nothing serious. They continued their business until, abruptly, the woman realized the boy had gone still. She asked him what was wrong, urging him to continue, but to her horror, he had turned into a zombie and attacked her. She struggled, barely managing to push him away. Meanwhile, Subai heard the commotion and wondered if someone else was in the house. Searching through the memories of his new body, he recalled that the woman was supposed to be his girlfriend, and the yellow-haired boy was her lover. Subai smiled bitterly, realizing that the original owner of this body had also been betrayed by those closest to him. Opening the door, Subai saw the now zombified boy lunging at the screaming woman. She noticed Subai and begged for help. He stared at her coldly, said nothing, and watched as the zombie tore into her flesh. Then, without a word, he closed the door behind him, thinking, "Serves her right." In a world with no spiritual power, Subai knew he had to find a way to survive. Otherwise, he might die here before ever returning to his original world. Sitting on the floor, he tried to retrieve something, anything, from his sea of consciousness that could save his life. Yet with his current cultivation level, advanced magic items like the 9 Changes Spirit Pellet were beyond reach. All he could do was rely on luck and hope for the best. Finally, he pulled out a low-level magic weapon, the 10,000 Souls Banner. Subai was disappointed. How could he have ended up with such a low-level magic weapon? He had hoped to retrieve something that could truly save his life in this chaotic world. Just as his frustration peaked, a blue window suddenly appeared before him. System prompt. It has been detected that the host has obtained the magic weapon, 10,000 Souls Banner. The host is now bound to the 10,000 Souls Banner system. Current system level. Capacity: 10 souls. Upgrade requirement to level 2. Hunt down an elementary mutant. Curious, Subai wondered what sort of system this could be, especially attached to a mere low-level weapon like the 10,000 Souls Banner. As far as he remembered, the banner's only function had been to collect souls. The system then explained that by using the 10,000 Souls Banner, he could harvest the souls of the dead, convert their soul power into spiritual power, and feed it back to himself. The higher the banner's level, the stronger the souls it could collect, and thus the more spiritual power Subai would gain in return. However, there was a catch. Any person who had been dead for more than 5 minutes would have a soul that completely vanished, rendering it uncollectible. Subai smiled. So it really is possible to transform soul power into spiritual power. Even if this world lacked natural spiritual energy, he realized that, with zombies everywhere, there was no shortage of materials to harvest for cultivation. Suddenly, he remembered the girlfriend who had betrayed him and the yellow-haired boy, both now zombies, banging on the door. Subai opened it, and the 2 zombies lunged at him. He swiftly killed them with the 10,000 Souls Banner, but to his surprise, they continued moving even after he attacked. At that moment, he activated the banner's true power, collecting their souls and converting them into spiritual energy. Subai was amazed to feel a breakthrough in his cultivation almost immediately. After absorbing their souls, he now had 2 controllable souls at his command, and his spiritual power had grown noticeably stronger. He couldn't help but smile. Despite its humble appearance, the 10,000 Souls Banner had proven to be far more powerful than he ever imagined. Sometime later outside, people were running in all directions, desperately searching for any safe place to hide. In the midst of this chaos, Subai was also looking for supplies. His body was still too weak. "I can't do much cultivation in this condition," he thought. "First, I need to find some supplies, then consider upgrading the 10,000 Souls Banner." Suddenly, a group of zombies perched atop a nearby building heard the commotion below and leaped down into the fleeing crowd. Among them was a plump, blonde-haired woman who panicked upon seeing the zombies heading toward her. In a desperate attempt to save herself, she grabbed another woman from the crowd and threw her at the zombies, using the poor victim as a human shield. Subai happened to witness this horrifying act and was shocked to recognize that the woman who'd been thrown to the zombies looked exactly like Lin Wanqiu, one of his disciples who had once betrayed him. Furious and confused about her presence here, he quickly summoned the 10,000 Souls Banner and killed the zombies attacking her. Lin Wanqiu gasped with relief, grateful to be rescued. "How did you end up here?" Subai demanded, glaring at her. "Not long ago you used the Divine Thunder technique on me, forcing me into a wretched state. Now you can't even protect yourself from a handful of low-level monsters?" He could scarcely believe that his former disciple, who had once caused him so much trouble, was now so weak. Yet Lin Wanqiu only stared at him in bewilderment. She had no idea who he was, or what he was talking about, and she couldn't understand how he already knew her name, when to her knowledge, they had never met. Standing up, she thanked Subai for saving her life, and asked if they had met before. Incensed, Subai pointed his spear at her. "Don't pretend to be crazy, you won't get away by feigning ignorance." Startled, Lin Wanqiu tried to calm him. "Sir, this isn't the time for wild accusations. There are more monsters nearby. We should leave and find somewhere safe." Hearing her words, Subai hesitated. Did I get the wrong person? He wondered. Or is she simply not the Lin Wangqiu I once knew? Subai still found it difficult to believe that the woman before him wasn't the traitorous disciple he remembered. She looked identical to Lin Wangqiu, and he was sure he would never mistake her face, unless coming to this world caused her to lose her memories. As he moved closer, hoping to investigate, Subai's stomach growled. Lin Wangqiu smiled at the sound and mentioned there was a large shopping mall not far away. She planned to gather supplies there and possibly take refuge. She invited Subai to join her, and although he hesitated briefly, he eventually agreed, if only to see for himself whether or not she was truly the same Lin Wangqiu. Gripping his hand, Lin Wangqiu urged him to hurry so they could stock up on supplies and wait for rescue. Subai followed her, still torn between suspicion and curiosity. Even if she really has lost her memories, he thought, her betrayal remains. Sooner or later, she'll pay for it. After half an hour, they reached the entrance of a Walmart supermarket. While standing at the front doors, Lin Wangqiu asked for Subai's name. Hearing this, Subai realized she truly seemed unaware of who he was. She wasn't faking her confusion at all. Still, he refused to let his guard down. Stepping past her, he answered curtly, "Subai." Following a brief introduction, Lin Wangqiu invited him to head inside. She suggested they use the store's resources and wait for rescue. But to their surprise, the supermarket was already crawling with zombies, and not just ordinary ones. Among them was a mutated zombie that stood out. It kept mumbling phrases like, "Apply for a card, get 50% off," before slaughtering several normal zombies in its path. Then, it charged straight at Subai. Subai smirked as he felt the creature's aura. It's probably at the initial stage of the spiritual sea realm, he realized. That must be an elementary mutant. Lin Wangqiu, terrified, hid behind him, urging him to retreat and find safety elsewhere. But Subai saw this as an opportunity, not a threat, a sacrifice that could help him upgrade his 10,000 souls banner to level 2. Summoning the banner, he commanded 2 zombie slaves he controlled to attack the mutant. The supermarket erupted into chaos as his zombies clashed with the others, killing them one by one. However, the mutated zombie soon noticed Subai's slaves and charged in to attack. Subai quickly ordered them to pull back, but the mutant was too quick and killed one of his zombie slaves. Seeing an opening, Subai launched a sneak attack from behind. At the same time, his remaining slave, a female zombie, leaped onto the mutant's back and bit into its neck. The mutated zombie roared in pain. Subai quickly ordered his slave zombie to slam it into the ground, knocking it unconscious. Then, he activated the 10,000 souls banner to absorb its soul, making it his newest slave. Right after absorbing the mutated zombie, a system window appeared before him. System prompt: "Congratulations on defeating an elementary zombie. The 10,000 souls banner has been upgraded to level 2. New capacity 5 additional souls. Next upgrade requirement: hunt down an advanced zombie, a foundation stage beast." Subai frowned at the new requirement. "My current cultivation is still at the spiritual sea realm. To defeat a foundation stage beast, I'll need to absorb more spiritual power first." Meanwhile, Lin Wangqiu was awestruck by Subai's display of strength. She had originally dismissed him as some crazed individual, never imagining he was this powerful. Watching her childish admiration, Subai found it hard to believe she could be the same disciple who had once betrayed him and nearly ended his life. With the mutated zombie defeated, the survivors who had been hiding in the supermarket cautiously emerged. Relieved that the threat was gone, they began redistributing supplies and preparing to wait for rescue in relative safety. There seemed to be enough resources to sustain them for a while. Lin Wangqiu turned to Subai, pointing out how large the stockpile of supplies was. "If we use this wisely, we can stay hidden in a safe place until the rescue team arrives," she suggested. However, the other survivors were not so welcoming. One man stepped forward, glaring at Lin Wangqiu and Subai. "This is our territory," he declared. "You can't just help yourselves to our supplies without our permission." Several others quickly agreed with him, insisting that they had risked their lives to gather everything during the chaos. They weren't about to let newcomers take advantage of their hard work. Lin Wangqiu bristled at their accusations and shouted back, "If Mr. Subai hadn't killed that mutated zombie, all of you would have been sitting ducks, waiting to die. Now you want to claim these supplies for yourselves and ignore the fact that he saved your lives?" However, they didn't believe him. They said he was as thin as a bamboo pole. How could someone like that kill a monster? In their opinion, the monsters must have killed each other. Lin Wangqiu shouted, unable to believe how shameless those people were. Before she could say anything more, Subai stopped her and warned her not to argue with mindless people, reminding her that words alone wouldn't change anything. Lin Wangqiu looked at Subai and insisted that he was the one who had obviously defeated those monsters. She couldn't let anyone else take advantage of his hard work. Subai simply smiled and said, "Only the weak use such petty tricks. The strong are always right." He cast a cold gaze over the crowd and announced that he needed supplies, asking who was in favor and who was against it. They all opposed him, telling Subai there were many of them and only one of him, so he couldn't win. They advised him to leave peacefully, hinting that if he angered them, they wouldn't be responsible for what might happen. Subai only smiled and said that if he couldn't get supplies peacefully, he would have no choice but to kill them. Once they were dead, all the supplies would be his. He summoned his mutated zombies and ordered them to attack. Terrified, the crowd begged Subai to spare them, promising he could take all the supplies he wanted as long as they could keep their lives. But he didn't care. He killed those who had threatened him. The rest fled in terror, trying to save themselves. Standing confidently, Subai asked if anyone else wanted to stop him. No one dared say a word. They stood silently, too afraid to even lift their heads. Then Subai turned to Lin Wangqiu and told her to take whatever she wanted. No one would dare oppose them now. She nodded and began collecting supplies. After stuffing her bag, she asked if Subai needed anything. He smiled and said that in return for saving her, all he wanted was help carrying some supplies. Secretly, he was testing her to see if she really had amnesia or was only pretending. Lin Wangqiu agreed, packing his share of the supplies. Subai was confused. He didn't know if she really was his disciple Lin Wangqiu or if he himself had lost his memory. After a few minutes, she finished packing and asked whether they should stay and wait for rescue or head elsewhere. Subai turned to leave, saying he planned to look for stronger zombies to hunt. All she needed to do was follow him with the supplies. Lin Wangqiu nodded and followed him. Once they were gone, everyone else breathed a sigh of relief. Even so, they couldn't believe Subai had dared to kill people so casually. They agreed to report him to the authorities if rescue ever came, insisting that someone like him should be brought to justice. But now that he was gone, they gathered around what remained of the supplies, dividing them up as quickly as possible before any other danger appeared. In the midst of their squabbling, oblivious to the threat looming behind them, Subai's 2 zombie servants crept up, ready to attack. Just then, one man in the crowd noticed the zombies and freaked out, running as fast as he could to save himself. Unfortunately, it was already too late. The zombies charged forward and took down everyone one by one. A blonde, overweight woman remained alive for a moment, terrified and pleading for help, but the zombies spotted her and crushed her head underfoot. Once the massacre ended, Subai gathered their souls and converted them into spiritual power. He knew leaving survivors would only cause him trouble in the future. Now that he could control 3 undead, Subai felt a bit safer. Still, he was well aware that if he ever had to face more than 10 zombies at once, he'd have no choice but to retreat. Until his level rose, he would keep a low profile. Meanwhile, Lin Wangqiu, who had been following him, was exhausted. She asked if they could rest somewhere, but Subai told her he had no time to waste. If she slowed him down, he would leave her behind. Embarrassed, Lin Wangqiu insisted that she believed Mr. Subai would never abandon her. He smiled and asked why she was so sure, reminding her that they were strangers and he could do as he pleased. Lin Wangqiu confidently replied that she knew the location of the powerful zombie he was looking for. Intrigued, Subai asked how she knew. Lin Wangqiu explained that, back at her university, she fled the campus after spotting a strange creature near the lake. It gave off an unusual scent, and she was certain it was dangerous. Nervously, she admitted she wasn't sure it was the advanced zombie Subai sought, but it certainly seemed formidable. Hearing this, Subai reasoned that if it was anything like the mutant beast in the supermarket, it was worth investigating. He told Lin Wangqiu to lead the way. Pleased that he believed her, Lin Wangqiu happily guided him toward the campus. Sometime later, the two of them finally reached their destination, but the campus was overrun with zombies. Lin Wangqiu stopped, scanning the surroundings anxiously. Seeing her hesitate, Subai asked why she had stopped yet again. Lin Wangqiu whispered for him to lower his voice. So many people at the school had turned into those creatures, and if they accidentally drew attention, they'd be in huge trouble. Subai told her not to worry, declaring he would handle the situation. He summoned his zombie servants and ordered them to clear a path. Lin Wangqiu, concerned, warned him they should do this quietly instead of being so reckless. But Subai ignored her protests, wondering what had happened to the world to turn so many humans into these half-human, half-ghost monsters. Suddenly, they heard noises behind them. Lin Wangqiu recognized the voices. It sounded like her classmates. They had ventured outside for supplies, but were now trapped among the campus zombies. One of her classmates, terrified, hurled his weapon at a charging zombie, but missed. The zombie kept coming, yet another student arrived just in time and killed it. The student who saved him then grabbed the frightened boy, urging him to run back and regroup because these monsters were way beyond their league. Lin Wangqiu realized these two were Gu Ming and Li Mingxuan, her classmates, though she couldn't fathom why they would be here of all places. Subai noticed her reaction and asked if she knew them. When Lin Wangqiu admitted they were her schoolmates, he turned to her and said, "So, do you want me to save them or not?" Lin Wangqiu held Subai's hand and said, "Let's go. While they're distracting the monsters, we can escape quickly. If the monsters spot us, we won't be able to leave." Subai then asked her, "Don't you want to save them? They're your classmates, aren't they?" Lin Wangqiu replied, "If I could help them, I would. But right now, I can't risk your life." Upon hearing this, Subai realized that if she had been the treacherous disciple from his past, she would never have said such a thing. She truly seemed to be just an ordinary girl. However, before they could leave, the very thing Lin Wangqiu feared happened. Her classmates noticed her and called out for help. Lin Wangqiu became furious. She couldn't believe that Li Mingxuan, one of her classmates, was desperately shouting amid so many zombies, potentially dragging them all down with him. All the noise quickly drew the zombies' attention. Panicking, Lin Wangqiu burst into tears and apologized to Subai for getting him involved. In response, Subai summoned his enslaved zombies to fight. Boasting that he had once slain the 9th demon lord of the underworld, he declared that these lowly undead were not worthy opponents. Although his summoned zombies managed to kill many of them, there were simply too many. Subai lost 2 of his contracted zombies, and his mutated zombie was also in trouble. He realized that dealing with 10 zombies at once was already his limit given his current strength. If they wanted to turn the tide and survive, he needed to lure some of the zombies away. He asked Lin Wangqiu if there was anything nearby that could produce a loud sound. Lin Wangqiu remembered her smartphone and handed it to Subai, who had never seen such a device before. He was baffled by the idea that a small box could make a loud noise. Instead of explaining, Lin Wangqiu simply turned on the phone's music. Subai was astonished by how loud the sound was coming from what he called a small metal box. Drawn by the blaring music, many of the zombies attacking the mutated zombie turned their attention towards Subai. Overjoyed by this new, magical tool, he threw the smartphone to his mutated zombie slave. The mutated zombie caught the phone and started running, drawing most of the horde away. With so many zombies in pursuit of the mutated zombie, Subai and his remaining undead were free to dispatch the remaining threats one by one. Lin Wangqiu was amazed that such a simple trick had worked. However, Subai grabbed her hand and reminded her they had no time to celebrate. They needed to leave before more zombies arrived. Moments later, both of them managed to escape safely to the classroom building. Once they were out of danger, Lin Wangqiu thanked Subai again for saving her life. She admitted that without him, she would never have made it this far. Subai replied that it was no big deal. She had helped him locate an advanced zombie, and in return, he had saved her. Both of them benefited. Not long after, Lin Wangqiu's classmates also managed to escape safely, thanks to Subai's zombies having distracted and slain most of the undead. However, they quickly noticed that Lin Wangqiu was carrying a large bag of supplies. They were thrilled to see Lin Wangqiu return with so many supplies. With that amount, they believed they could wait for a rescue team to arrive. However, Lin Wangqiu scoffed and reminded everyone that these supplies were obtained by Mr. Subai, and she had no right to distribute them on his behalf. Li Mingxuan was furious. He told Lin Wangqiu that there was no point in distinguishing yours and his in a crisis like this. Other students also needed these supplies to survive. Another one of Lin Wangqiu's classmates, sensing the tense atmosphere, stepped in and suggested they all stop arguing and return to the classroom first. They could decide how to distribute the supplies once they were somewhere safer. Turning to Subai, he also invited him to join them, saying they should all stick together in times like these. Subai and Lin Wangqiu followed them back to the classroom. On the way, Lin Wangqiu apologized to Subai for the trouble, but assured him that she would not let anyone touch his share of the supplies. Subai told her not to worry. His only goal was to find the advanced zombie. Still, he asked how she could be certain these people would listen to her. She replied that there were many teachers among the survivors, so nobody would dare do anything extreme. Subai simply smiled and said they had better behave, or he couldn't guarantee their safety. Meanwhile, the bold student whispered to Li Mingxuan that he had seen the bag was full of food. With so many supplies, they could sustain themselves for at least a month until rescue arrived. Li Mingxuan nodded but worried that Lin Wangqiu wouldn't agree. And then there was also the matter of Subai. Another student chimed in, saying that now they were back on their territory. Lin Wangqiu and Subai couldn't simply refuse. If they cooperated, they might receive something in return. If not, they would have to deal with them the hard way. Moments later, they arrived at the classroom door. Li Mingxuan called out to the teacher to open up, announcing they had brought supplies. The teacher, relieved to see them safe, invited everyone inside and asked for the supplies to be handed out. As Subai entered, he noticed that many survivors were present. They had managed to avoid the zombies so far, perhaps because the undead hadn't swarmed this area yet. The same bold student pressed Lin Wangqiu to distribute the supplies right away, complaining that they hadn't eaten anything for 3 days. Gritting her teeth in frustration, Lin Wangqiu said she would only give out half. Mr. Subai owned the other half, and they had no right to touch it. Li Mingxuan scoffed and asked why a single person needed so much food. He offered to buy Subai's share at 10 times the market price. Looking at Subai, he asked if he minded selling. Subai smiled and agreed. In that moment, Li Mingxuan tried to claim all of Lin Wangqiu's supplies, forgetting that Subai was no pushover. Subai promptly summoned his mutated zombie slave, ready to attack Li Mingxuan. Seeing the monster appear inside the classroom, everyone panicked and scrambled for safety. Only then did they realize the zombie seemed to be under Subai's control. Subai grabbed Li Mingxuan by the collar and snarled that, because of Li Mingxuan's earlier actions, he had lost 2 undead minions. Yet Li Mingxuan still dared to demand Subai's supplies. Li Mingxuan apologized profusely and begged for his life. Subai asked, "Should I kill you? Or should I take your soul to make up for my losses?" Terrified, Li Mingxuan pleaded with his classmates Zheng Hao and Gu Ming to intercede, since they were the ones who had come up with the plan in the first place. Zheng Hao and Gu Ming quickly denied any involvement, insisting it was all Li Mingxuan's idea and that he alone should bear the blame. Li Mingxuan was shocked at the betrayal, cursing them for abandoning him. He turned to Lin Wangqiu, begging her to ask Subai to spare him. He promised he would never try to steal supplies again. Subai was curious how Lin Wangqiu would react. Surprisingly, she apologized on Li Mingxuan's behalf and asked Subai to forgive him just this once for everyone's sake. She said they could take her share of the supplies, but no one was to touch Subai's. Watching her selfless behavior, Subai realized that she truly might not be the treacherous disciple he once knew, despite her resemblance. Deciding he no longer needed to keep her close, he told Lin Wangqiu that, now that she had found her companions, it was time for him to leave and continue searching for the advanced zombie. But Lin Wangqiu stopped him, claiming that she knew where the creature he was seeking might be. When Subai asked if she had actually seen it, she said no, but she could sense a terrifying presence somewhere in the school. This startled Subai. Her ability to sense spiritual power suggested an innate spiritual physique. He was astonished because, to his knowledge, no one else in the world had such a physique except his lost disciple. Could she truly be that woman, suffering from memory loss? Or was there some other explanation? In the original Cultivation realm, before Subai was betrayed by his disciples, Lin Wangqiu approached him, requesting to become his disciple. In response, Subai told her that he would only accept her if she found something for him first. Lin Wangqiu successfully found what Subai had asked for and returned, requesting again to be accepted as his disciple. When Subai asked how she managed to locate it, Lin Wangqiu respectfully bowed before him and replied, "I was born with the ability to track and trace. If you accept me as your disciple, I will be the sword in your hand. I will never let you down." Seeing her determination, Subai accepted her as his second disciple. With her innate spiritual physique, her future achievements would not fall short of his own. However, Lin Wangqiu humbly told him, "My life was saved by you. I would never dream of surpassing you. I only wish to serve by your side and ease your burdens." Subai walked up to her and said, "Stop calling me senior. Now that you're my disciple, you should call me master." That was the moment Subai learned that Lin Wangqiu possessed the innate spiritual physique. Although he wasn't sure how she had lost her past memories, for him, it didn't matter. He was still planning to kill her. He extended his hand to capture her soul and make her his servant, dooming her to eternal soul refinement. But suddenly, Lin Wangqiu grabbed Subai's hand and urgently warned, "That thing I've been sensing, it's really coming this way. We must leave now, before it's too late." Hearing this, Subai fell silent. Then, in the next moment, he burst into laughter like a madman, shocking everyone in the room. He thought to himself, "I nearly killed her just now, but this is an innate spiritual physique, a one-of-a-kind rare body. Killing her outright would be such a waste. Rather than that, I'll treat her as a chess piece. Once she outlives her usefulness, I won't shortchange her. She'll have her own place inside the soul banner." Meanwhile, the mutated monster Lin Wangqiu had warned about approached the building. It had sensed Subai's spiritual energy and followed it here, to where Subai and the others were gathered. This mutated creature was intelligent, and it had recently been lucky enough to absorb a trace of spiritual energy to recharge its core. If not for that, it too would have eventually turned into one of those half-human, half-ghost abominations. When it detected the presence of spiritual energy in this barren world, it was thrilled. Finally, a chance to break through to the next realm. Standing in front of the university building, the mutated beast looked up, then leaped straight through the upper floor, crashing into the room where Subai and the others were. Seeing the creature, Subai thought, "Is this the powerful entity Lin Wangqiu mentioned, a mutated snake demon?" But as he observed it more closely, something felt off. This mutated beast's aura, it felt familiar. The students in the room panicked, screaming and trying to escape. But to their horror, the door was locked. They couldn't get out. Lin Wangqiu pointed at the beast and exclaimed, "This is the same creature I saw by the man-made lake. It has the same aura I've been sensing all this time." Subai was surprised. This mutated snake demon, it actually possesses spiritual energy? This isn't some ordinary mutant. This is a demon beast from the cultivation realm. But then he wondered, why would such a creature appear in a place like this? The mutated snake demon sneered and spoke. "Even though this world lacks spiritual energy and is crawling with ghostly pests, it's far more fun than that wretched cultivation realm. I can feast on humans freely here, without interference from those damned cultivators." It grabbed one of the students to devour. The terrified student cried for help. The teacher, Bai Ling, turned to Lin Wangqiu and begged her to ask Subai to save the students. "If he can protect them, I'll do anything he asks." Subai glanced at her coldly and said, "Whether I can or not is beside the point. What do their lives have to do with me?" Still desperate, the teacher pleaded, "I'll pay you a lot of money. Just save them." But Subai rejected her offer. "I'm not interested in money. Don't worry. Once you're all dead, I'll collect your souls." As the snake demon devoured the student, Subai ordered his mutated zombie to attack. The zombie leapt into the air and struck from behind, knocking the mutated snake demon to the ground. As the beast lay unconscious, the zombie jumped on top of it to finish it off. But suddenly, the snake demon's eyes flew open. It extended its tongue, wrapping it tightly around Subai's zombie. Staring at Subai, it said, "I knew it. My nose wasn't wrong. There really is spiritual energy here. Unbelievable. A cultivator in this world. Their strength may be weak, but it's enough. It'll do." Just as it grew excited, Subai's zombie kicked its mouth, freeing itself from the demon's tongue grip. Subai smirked. "So the mutated snake demon is coming for me after sensing my spiritual energy? Doesn't matter. I'll just take it down." A monster in the foundation stage. In the past, this kind of trash wouldn't have been worthy of Subai's attention. But now, when his cultivation is only at the spiritual sea realm, he had to be more cautious. However, these people, killing them and refining their souls, might just be enough for him to break through. Turning to them, he coldly announced, "Unfortunately, in my current condition, I can't handle that thing. So, you're all on your own. But, if you're willing to join my 10,000 souls banner and help me break through, there may be a sliver of hope. Of course you can refuse. But if you do, I'll leave, and no one can stop me. What happens after that won't be my responsibility." Everyone sat frozen in silence, terrified. No one dared to speak. Seeing that no one was willing to sacrifice themselves, Subai turned to leave. Lin Wangqiu tried to stop him, but before she could, her teacher Li stepped forward and said, "I'll do it. I'll sacrifice myself. In exchange, please take my students to safety." At that moment, Subai noticed a glowing purple crystal hanging around Teacher Li's neck. His eyes narrowed. "A spiritual stone?" He grabbed the crystal and asked coldly, "Where did you get this?" Teacher Li hesitated for a second before replying, "My father found it by chance, many years ago." Seeing Subai's obvious interest, Teacher Li handed him the stone and begged, "Please, just protect my students." Inspecting it closely, Subai confirmed, "This is indeed a product of the Immortal realm. The quality isn't low either. The spiritual power inside, it's on par with a top-grade spiritual stone. But what puzzled him was, how did something like this end up in this world? Could it be that his and Lin Wangqiu's rebirth here wasn't a coincidence? If that's true, then maybe his other disciples are here too. Just then, the system detected the spiritual stone and prompted, "Would you like to use this item to enhance the 10,000 Souls banner? Doing so will increase your control level over undead by 1 tier." Subai was stunned. "I didn't expect this. Spiritual stones can directly upgrade the banner?" He made a mental note. "I need to collect more of these in the future." He accepted the item and agreed to Teacher Li's request. "Wait here. Don't run." Meanwhile, the mutated snake demon, enraged after being attacked by Subai's mutated zombie, roared, "How dare you steal from me!" It charged straight at Subai, intending to kill and refine him to boost its own cultivation. But Subai had already begun absorbing the spiritual stone's energy. He commanded his zombie, "Block him. Don't let him get close." The zombie charged in, but the mutated snake demon dodged easily. Grabbing the zombie, it slammed him into a nearby wall. Then it noticed something. Subai's aura. It was rapidly growing stronger. He was breaking through. The snake demon growled in panic. "If I don't stop him now, it'll be a problem later. But before that, I need to squash this bug." It punched Subai's zombie, sending him flying out of the building. Now, rid of the distraction, the demon laughed and charged towards Subai. But just as it approached, its entire body froze. A primal fear surged up, warning it. Subai smiled, his body glowing with spiritual light. "My 10,000 Souls banner needs a foundation beast for sacrifice," he said calmly. "And that's you." The mutated snake demon was stunned. "Is happening?" Suddenly, Subai's mutated zombie, now evolved from ordinary class to evolutionary class, returned. Towering over the snake demon, it grabbed the creature by the neck. Subai gave the command, "Kill him." The zombie stabbed its sharp claws into the demon's chest, piercing clean through. Then it lifted the demon into the air and hurled it across the building. But just before falling, the mutated demon clung to the edge and caught itself. Breathing heavily, it realized, "I underestimated him. I didn't expect Subai to break through mid-battle." Still, it wasn't ready to give up. "It's not enough to defeat me," it roared. With wild rage, it let out a piercing cry, summoning the nearby zombies to swarm in and help it kill these humans. Just then, Li Mingxuan transformed into a half-human, half-snake demon and killed both of his friends. The other students were shocked to see Li Mingxuan slaughter his fellow classmates. One of the students cried out, "Why would you do this?" Li Mingxuan smirked and replied with a chilling grin, "I've tolerated all of you long enough. Doesn't it feel good to be betrayed?" He turned toward the remaining students and charged at them, intent on killing everyone. The students screamed and scattered, desperately trying to escape. Some even begged, "Li Mingxuan, please, let us go. Spare our lives." But he didn't listen. He was enjoying the feeling of ruling over mere ants. Seeing this horrifying massacre, Teacher Li collapsed to the ground, her voice trembling. Why did it end up like this?" Terrified, Lin Wangqiu turned to Subai and asked, "What happened to Li Mingxuan?" Subai simply smiled. He didn't expect to see a human willingly become a beast's servant. But this development suited him perfectly. The more that die, the better. It saves him the effort. They'll all become part of his 10,000 Souls banner eventually. As Li Mingxuan prepared to kill the last student, Teacher Li stepped in and shouted, "Stop! I can't let you go on like this." Li Mingxuan grabbed her by the collar and hissed, "You want to die too? Fine. I'll grant your wish and kill you first." Just as he raised his claws, Subai intervened. He pulled Teacher Li back. Lin Wangqiu told her urgently, "There's no way to appease everyone in this situation. Right now we need to survive, and the only one who can help us is Mr. Subai." Though Subai didn't care about the others, Teacher Li was a different matter. He needed her alive. If he wanted to find the source of the spiritual stone, she had to lead him there. Subai then unfurled his 10,000 Souls banner and began absorbing the souls of all the dead students. Li Mingxuan was stunned. He had waited so long for his master to appear, and now nothing could stop him. He glared at Subai and charged at him, shouting, "You think you can do anything without your monster's protection?" Subai calmly smiled and summoned the very students Li Mingxuan had just killed. Their ghostly forms lunged at him, trying to drag him into the 10,000 Souls banner. Li Mingxuan was confused. How are they alive? I just killed them moments ago." Then he realized they weren't alive. They were just wandering spirits, reanimated by Subai's power. "There's no time to waste on them," he growled. Meanwhile, the mutated snake demon watched Subai's 10,000 souls banner and scoffed. "You're planning to use that trash weapon on me? Do you think I'm made of mud?" Subai chuckled. "You have no idea who I am. And my 10,000 souls banner still needs a dead soul like you as sacrifice." At the same time, Li Mingxuan managed to partially free himself from the grasp of Subai's zombies and ran toward the mutated snake demon for help. The demon scowled. "Just my luck. I finally meet an immortal cultivator and he turns out to be a demon cultivator? These puppets he controls are strange and dangerous. If I don't act quickly, I'm in trouble." Although he had already broken through to the Foundation realm, he knew that continuing the fight might end badly. "At worst, I won't get any spiritual energy, and I'll die too." Desperate, he grabbed Li Mingxuan and growled, "I gave you power. Now it's time to repay me." Then he hurled Li Mingxuan towards Subai to buy himself some time to escape. But before he could flee, Subai gave the order. His mutated zombie leapt high into the air and came crashing down onto the snake demon, slamming him into the ground. The zombie grabbed the demon and restrained him, locking down all movement. "You're not going anywhere." Just as the mutated snake demon struggled to break free, Subai made his move. He transformed several of his zombies into stone statue form, anchoring them into the demon's limbs, binding its hands and feet so tightly it couldn't move an inch. The demon let out a pained roar, its body shaking violently. Blood oozed from the cracks in its scaled flesh as it cried out in fury and humiliation. "I admit defeat. For today," it hissed, its voice trembling with suppressed rage. "But don't think this is enough to hold me forever." In a desperate move, the demon's main body detached from the larger snake host and fled into the distance like a dark shadow melting into the horizon. Li Mingxuan, who had just barely survived, watched the escape in panic. Wait, boss, don't leave me behind. I haven't escaped yet." But before he could move, the remaining students, those who had narrowly survived his betrayal, surrounded him, cold hatred burning in their eyes. "Karma always comes back around. You really think you'll walk away after killing so many of us?" Fear flooded Li Mingxuan's eyes as he stumbled back. Stay away. I'll kill you if you come any closer, I swear." But the crowd no longer feared him. They descended on him without mercy, fists and feet replacing words. Li Mingxuan died the same way he lived, violently and utterly alone. Nearby, Lin Wangqiu turned towards Subai, her voice filled with disbelief. "That monster? We're really just letting it go?" Subai only smirked. "It's just a lowly snake demon. Does it really believe it can escape my spiritual sense?" Far away, the mutated snake demon, now free from its bindings, let out a long breath. It had narrowly escaped death. But one question clawed at his mind. Where did that demonic cultivator come from? Then a chilling realization crossed his thoughts. Could he too have been pulled into this world through the chaotic spatial rift, just like me? Doesn't matter. I'm free now. A Foundation establishment cultivator like him, he'll never find me. But he was wrong. Before he could take another step, a shadow fell over him. Subai appeared directly behind him. "Try running again," he said coldly. "Let's see if you can escape my spiritual sense now." Terror flooded the snake demon's expression. His whole body trembled. How did he track me this fast? How strong is his spiritual sense? Subai didn't waste time. He ordered his mutated zombies forward. As the beast tried to flee, Subai himself lunged in, grabbing the demon's legs and arms, pinning it down. The mutated zombie struck its vital point, sealing its core. The snake demon howled in agony, completely paralyzed. "If I can't live in peace, none of you will," the demon bellowed. He activated his final skill, Serpent Shadow Clone. Dozens of shadowy snake clones burst forth, swarming towards Subai. Laughing, the demon mocked, "Your soul banner is useless now. Once I devour you, your puppets will vanish." But Subai showed no concern. He raised his 10,000 souls banner, calmly scanned the illusions, and in a flash, stabbed the real body. The snake demon gasped. How did you see through it? Not even nascent soul cultivators could." Subai's expression remained unchanged. "If you weren't still useful, I would have shattered your soul already." With that, he unleashed the soul-binding power of the banner. Black tendrils wrapped around the demon's very spirit. "You'll never get me," the demon roared. "I'll destroy my soul before I serve you." In a final act of defiance, it attempted to self-destruct its soul, but once again, it had underestimated Subai. With a single thought, Subai activated his spiritual sense manifestation. His soul form materialized in front of the demon, grabbing and stopping the detonation mid-explosion. The snake demon stared in horror. "That pressure. You're not Foundation establishment. His voice cracked. Soul formation? The truth hit him like a blade to the chest. He had offended a soul formation powerhouse. He dropped to his knees, pleading, "Please, don't kill me. I was wrong." But his pleas fell on deaf ears. The 10,000 Souls banner absorbed his soul in its entirety. System notification. Congratulations. You have slain an evolved level creature. Soul banner has leveled up to level 3. Max controllable souls, 10. New feature unlocked. Enhancement mode. You can now feed spiritual energy-infused objects to your undead souls to boost their strength. Subai stood silently, staring at the faint glow of the soul banner. He was amazed. He hadn't expected that spirit stones could be directly fed to the undead. If that was true, then as long as he had enough stones, he could rapidly forge a powerful undead army. In that case, he thought, gathering spirit stones must become a top priority. Once he gained enough strength to protect himself in this chaotic world, it would be time to visit his loyal little disciples. Meanwhile, back at the university, Teacher Lee turned to Lin Wanqiu, her voice laced with concern. Subai went after that monster. Isn't he in danger? But Lin Wanqiu replied calmly, Mr. Subai will be totally fine. A monster like that is no match for him. Teacher Lee let out a quiet sigh of relief, but curiosity soon crept into her eyes. You seem to trust him a lot. He doesn't appear to be a student here. How did you meet him? Lin Wanqiu hesitated for a moment before speaking. When I ran out of the school during the chaos and was about to be attacked by monsters, he saved me. Her eyes flickered with a strange emotion. When I first met him, I felt something odd, a strange sense of familiarity, like I've seen him before. Just then, Subai returned. Lin Wanqiu ran toward him. Mr. Subai, are you hurt? He pushed her gently aside and replied coldly, a low-level demon like that? There's no way it could hurt me. Then he turned to Teacher Lee. Do you know where to get more of those spirit stones? Teacher Lee looked apologetic. That one belonged to my father. I don't really know where he found it. If you want answers, you'll have to ask him yourself. Subai narrowed his eyes. She hesitated again, then spoke cautiously. If you truly want to find him, we'll have to make another deal. The last time I spoke with him was 3 days ago. He was trapped somewhere, waiting for rescue. If you want that information, we'll have to find him first. Subai's face darkened. This woman, is she trying to use me to save her father? Still, if the old man had knowledge about spirit stones, it would be worth the time. Fine, he said. I'll go with you. But listen carefully. If I find out you're lying to me, not only will you die, but everyone else will too, including your father. Teacher Lee trembled under his gaze but nodded quickly. Understood. Don't worry. I'm sure my father won't disappoint you. She then turned to her surviving students. Get up. We're leaving with Mr. Subai. There was a wave of relief among them. Finally, they were leaving this nightmare. But not all were so lucky. Many students had died during the chaos. As Subai looked at their bodies, he raised his 10,000 souls banner and summoned their souls. One by one, gasps echoed through the group. The students stared in horror. Even Teacher Lee's voice trembled as she asked, Why? Why are you taking their souls? Subai turned to her, his expression unreadable. They were going to be wasted otherwise. Now they reside in the soul banner. My personal puppets. He glanced toward the school gates. Enough talk. I don't have time to waste here. Despite the grim nature of it all, Teacher Lee bowed slightly. Mr. Subai, thank you. If it weren't for you, we'd still be trapped in that classroom. We would have starved, or been torn apart by monsters. Subai scoffed. I didn't do this for free. Everyone got what they needed. Now that he had broken through to the Foundation establishment stage, Subai could feel his divine consciousness gradually recovering. He should now be able to retrieve higher-tier artifacts sealed within his soul domain. Without hesitation, he focused, reaching inward. And suddenly, a brilliant sword appeared before him. Subai's eyes widened. Could it really be fate? Lin Wanqiu stared at the sword, stunned. Something stirred in her heart. I feel like I've seen that sword before. Subai turned to her, expression sharpening. Could this be a sign that her memories are returning? He narrowed his eyes. If this girl truly regains her memories and realizes she's fallen into the hands of her former master, a lamb remembering her shepherd, just before the slaughter. He threw the sword onto the ground and looked at her. Hold on to it. Lin Wanqiu blinked in surprise. Me? What do I even do with a sword? Are you asking me to fight monsters? Subai nodded. I won't protect you forever. You need to learn to protect yourself. She hesitated. I've never used a sword before. You'll have to teach me later. As she nervously picked it up, her fingers brushed the blade, and flashes of memory surged through her mind. Moments long buried, of a distant mountain sect, her master Subai, and the day she was tested to become his disciple. The pain of betrayal and the haunting image of a mysterious senior brother whispering lies to her and her senior sister. Lies that turned them against their master. She staggered back slightly, clutching her head. The fragments were blurry, incomplete, but they were returning. At last, Lin Wangqiu finally saw her master's face, the very master she had once betrayed. And he looked exactly like Subai. The moment she met her master's angry gaze, Lin Wangqiu was so terrified that she fainted and collapsed to the ground. Seeing her suddenly fall, Teacher Li and the others were shocked. But before anyone could help her, Subai, realizing that Lin Wangqiu's memories had returned, immediately raised his soul banner and released his newly controlled snake beast to attack her. Before Lin Wangqiu could even react or say a word, the snake beast coiled its muscular body around her and began to squeeze. Witnessing Subai's sudden attack, Teacher Li and her students stood frozen in shock. Teacher Li rushed forward pleading with Subai to stop, but he didn't even flinch. The snake beast tightened its grip, slowly suffocating Lin Wangqiu. Struggling desperately, Lin Wangqiu managed to free her mouth. Gasping for breath, she choked out, "Mr. Subai, your monster's gone mad. Please help me." Subai approached her and slammed the soul banner down in front of her, terrifying her further. He sat beside her and asked coldly, "Lin Wangqiu, do you remember now?" Scared and confused, Lin Wangqiu asked, "Remember what? What are you talking about?" Teacher Li begged Subai to spare Lin Wangqiu, insisting she was a good child. Subai, too, was unsure. Lin Wangqiu's reaction didn't seem fake. He wondered if her memories had truly returned, or if it had only been a momentary flash. Uncertain, he decided to confirm it himself. Placing his hand on Lin Wangqiu's head, Subai used Soul Search to delve into her memories. He saw everything, including himself, but found no evidence that she had remembered her past. He knew memories couldn't be faked, which left him wondering if she truly hadn't recalled anything. Both Lin Wangqiu and Teacher Li stared at Subai, frightened and confused. After confirming it for himself, Subai decided to let her live, for now. He stood up and called back the snake beast, which released Lin Wangqiu and returned to the soul banner. Subai walked away as if nothing had happened, saying coldly to Lin Wangqiu, "Maybe this sword doesn't suit you." He retrieved the sword from her and said to the others, "Let's go, don't waste time." Teacher Li turned to her students and reassured them, "It's okay, hurry and follow." But Lin Wangqiu felt something was off. She couldn't understand why she had suddenly called Subai master, or why she felt such a strange sense of familiarity toward him. And she wasn't alone. Even Subai was confused, wondering if this was all some kind of divine will. He resolved to get to the bottom of it. After walking for several hours, Teacher Li led them to a building. Pointing at it, she said to Subai, "This is one of my family's properties. My father last contacted me from here, but it looks like he wasn't able to evacuate because of those monsters." Looking at the building, Subai replied, "If that's the case, let's go check it out." However, one of Teacher Li's students spoke up, suggesting they not enter and instead wait outside for Subai and the others to return. The other students agreed, saying they probably wouldn't be able to help Subai anyway and might just get in the way, so it was better to wait. Subai said, "No problem," then added, "Since I've already taken you out of the school, I've fulfilled my part of the deal. What you do now has nothing to do with me." With that, he left. Teacher Li looked at her three students who stood nervously. She told them, "Stay here and don't wander off. When we return, we'll take you to the official shelter. It's safe there." The students reassured her, saying they would definitely stay put. After Teacher Li left with Subai and Lin Wangqiu, the students sighed in relief. "Finally, we're free," one of them muttered. A girl added, "I didn't even dare breathe properly. I was afraid Subai would kill us if we annoyed him." The others nodded in agreement, saying he was scarier than the monsters. A third student told them both to quiet down. "Let's just stay here quietly and survive." Meanwhile, Subai, Lin Wangqiu, and Teacher Li approached the building's gate. But before they could enter, Lin Wangqiu suddenly sensed something and asked them to wait. She looked to the side and saw something approaching. She warned Subai, "Something's coming. Soldiers, being chased by zombies." When the soldiers saw Subai's group, they shouted, "Get away! This place is dangerous. Don't come closer. Get back before the monsters reach you." Watching the soldiers fire at the zombies, Teacher Li said to Subai, "They must be the official rescue team. They might know where my father is." Hearing that, Subai made up his mind to help them. He raised his soul banner, summoned his zombies, and ordered them to clear the path. But when the soldiers saw Subai's zombies, they misunderstood, thinking that more monsters were approaching from behind to attack. They asked their captain what to do. The captain told his soldiers not to panic and ordered everyone to disperse and avoid getting caught by the monster wave. All the soldiers quickly hid in the cracks between nearby buildings. Once the soldiers were out of the way, Subai's monsters charged forward to confront the zombies. The mutated zombie swung its sharp claws, slicing through hundreds of enemies in a single strike. The snake beast followed close behind, opening its massive jaws to devour the zombies whole. Watching this bizarre scene unfold, the soldiers became confused. One of them asked his captain, "Why are those monsters fighting each other?" Another added, "I've never seen anything like this on a mission." Even the captain was bewildered. "What's going on? What kind of battle is this?" he muttered. Subai's monsters continued cutting down the zombies, clearing a path ahead. The soldiers hiding behind the walls watched in confusion. The captain warned them, "Don't let your guard down. Evacuate now, before the monsters notice us. We'll only be safe once the awakened arrive." One soldier replied, "Captain, they say those awakened are amazing, but are they really? In the end, aren't we all just human? What makes them so superior?" The captain turned to him and said firmly, "You say that because you haven't seen their true power. I once witnessed a single S-level awakened fight off thousands of troops alone." "That sounds exaggerated," another soldier said skeptically. "Are they even human at that point?" Suddenly, one soldier spotted Subai and the others walking calmly through the battlefield. "Aren't those the survivors from earlier? Why aren't the monsters attacking them? It almost looks like the monsters are protecting them." Startled by this strange sight, the soldiers quickly raised their weapons towards Subai. "Who are they?" one demanded. "Stand still and identify yourselves, or we'll open fire." But Subai didn't even glance at them, and continued walking forward. The soldiers looked to their captain for orders. "Should we shoot?" After observing Subai controlling the monsters with ease, the captain slowly lowered his gun and said, "Forget it. This isn't someone we can deal with." He stepped out from hiding and called out, "Wait! Please stop." Subai paused and turned slightly as the man introduced himself. "I'm Xiao Changqing, captain of the 3rd Search and Rescue Team from Z City. Were you sent by the Bureau? Are you awakened reinforcements?" At that, Subai finally turned to look at him. "Awakened? What do you mean?" The captain hesitated. "Oh, I see. You're not the one I was referring to." But before he could ask more, he stopped himself, suspecting Subai might be a rogue awakened, a lone wolf. That would be a problem. Just then, Teacher Li stepped forward. "We're here looking for someone. My father, Li Zhenghao." Hearing the name, Captain Xiao looked surprised. "Li Zhenghao? He's on our rescue list. We received word that he holds crucial information. The higher-ups ordered us to ensure his safe return." Subai asked, "Do you know where he is?" "Yes," the captain replied, "but he's deep in the heart of the region. Given the current situation, rushing in will be extremely difficult." Just as he finished speaking, the wall beside them suddenly collapsed, and another wave of zombies flooded the area, surrounding them. Gunfire erupted as the soldiers tried to hold back the tide, but it wasn't enough. In a panic, the captain turned to Subai. "Even if you're not with the government, please help us. We don't care if we die, but at least one of us needs to make it out alive and deliver the information." Without hesitation, Subai nodded. "I'll get you out of here, but in return, you have to take me to the target." The captain agreed immediately. Subai raised his soul banner and commanded his monsters to attack. The mutated beast and the snake monster leapt into the horde, smashing zombies left and right. The mutated zombie swung its claws, instantly severing hundreds of undead. Snake monster opened its jaws and unleashed a torrent of fire, incinerating thousands. The soldiers stood frozen in awe. "Captain, is this some kind of superpower?" one whispered. "This is insane." "Are all awakened like this?" another asked. "If someone like him existed, what we're holding in our hands is just—" The captain, his face serious, replied, "Not all awakened are this strong. This one is special." The man standing before them was undoubtedly one of the strongest they had ever seen. Even among officially registered awakened, the captain had never encountered someone capable of controlling monsters for their own benefit. Subai's strength had to be at least sea level, if not higher. While Subai's monsters continued battling the horde, Lin Wangqiu suddenly sensed something and warned him to be cautious. Something was approaching. She pointed to the sky and said, "It's coming from above." Just as she spoke, a massive creature leapt down from the top of a building, roaring, "Anyone who enters my territory without permission will die." A towering night monster slammed into the ground in front of them, its presence overwhelming. Seeing the massive night, the soldiers panicked and asked in alarm, "What kind of monster is that? We were never told something of this level existed here." The moment Su-bai laid eyes on the knight, he immediately sensed its aura. It had reached the perfect foundation realm. He hadn't expected a monster of such a level to be hiding here. More importantly, it was unlike any ordinary undead. It radiated intelligence. The night monster pointed its mace at Su-bai and shouted, "My kin, follow me, destroy the invaders." With that command, all nearby zombies turned and charged towards Su-bai and his group. Seeing them rush over, Lin Wangqiu panicked. "Su-bai, what do we do now?" Su-bai's expression turned serious. "Get ready to fight. Even if we die, we'll take as many of them down with us." Despite the situation, Su-bai was excited, a rare intelligent undead. If he could capture this knight's soul and absorb it into the 10,000 souls banner, there was a chance the souls of his other undead could develop independent consciousness. A massive breakthrough. He stepped forward, blocking Lin Wangqiu and Teacher Li behind him. Turning to the soldiers, he ordered, "Stay back. This knight is mine." Su-bai was confident. If he could capture this creature, he could raise an army of undead with intelligence. An enormous boost to his strength. With no hesitation, Su-bai summoned his monsters and commanded them to attack. His monsters shot toward the knight with incredible speed. The mutated monster leapt into the air and delivered a powerful punch, clashing with the knight's mace using its darkened fist. At the same time, the snake monster wrapped its thick body around the knight's leg, restricting its movement. The night monster looked down and realized this human was controlling undead. Fury surged through it. Recognizing Su-bai as a serious threat, it let out a deafening roar and unleashed an energy blast from its body, sending all of Su-bai's monsters flying backward. It raised its massive mace and, as it gathered energy, bellowed, "I am the Lord of the Undead. How dare a mere human challenge me?" With that, the knight swung its mace with devastating force, aiming to annihilate Su-bai's monsters in a single strike. Witnessing its power, Su-bai's expression shifted slightly. The knight's strength was at least on par with a Golden Core realm warrior. That level of combat ability made him wary. Now, more than ever, Su-bai wondered, just where had this terrifying undead monster come from? When that undead monster unleashed his full power, a man was watching from afar, standing on the rooftop of a building. Upon seeing Su-bai, the man in glasses smiled and said, "A sweet prey discovered. My lord will surely be pleased." He contacted his lord, and suddenly a dark figure appeared in the sky. The man in glasses reported that he had found a foundation-building cultivator capable of controlling the dead. Hearing this, his lord ordered him to kill Su-bai and seize his body, saying the spiritual energy within was extremely valuable. If he succeeded, he would be rewarded. The man in glasses laughed and assured his lord, "Don't worry, the Bone Fiend Lord is already hunting him down." Meanwhile, the undead monster swung its massive sword towards Su-bai. Teacher Li and Lin Wangqiu were terrified, while the soldiers behind them opened fire, shouting that they would fight with everything they had. Lin Wangqiu grabbed Su-bai's hand and said that even if she died, she would stay by his side. As the sword came closer, Su-bai closed his eyes and sensed that this was a Golden Core realm undead lord. But it was merely a facade. Its true strength was only at the peak of the foundation building stage. Even though Su-bai had lost all his cultivation, such a beast could not stop him. He immediately retrieved the sword he had once given to Lin Wangqiu and manifested his Dharma body at its peak level. The massive Dharma body materialized, unleashing its might. Su-bai used it to shatter the undead monster's sword. The monster froze in shock, staring at the manifestation. How is this possible? A manifestation of the heavens and earth? A nascent soul secret technique? It exclaimed. Even the soldier's captain was stunned. "This is stronger than any ability user I've ever seen. This is insane." One soldier asked, "Are there really ability users this powerful?" Su-bai, however, began to sweat. He had only managed to gather a small amount of spiritual energy, and now it was all gone. But obtaining the Scaled King in return was worth it. Seeing a nascent soul secret technique before him, the undead monster panicked. Unsure how to fight against it, it turned to flee. Su-bai wasn't about to let it escape. He hurled his sword, unleashing his phoenix fury. The sword transformed into a blazing fire phoenix that streaked toward the undead monster at incredible speed. The monster's eyes widened in terror. He recognized the weapon as a divine artifact, and when the phoenix cried out, he found himself completely immobilized. "Just what kind of monster have I provoked?" he thought in despair. The phoenix struck the monster in the stomach, leaving a massive hole. Gasps of shock echoed around. Lin Wangqiu looked at Su-bai in disbelief. Was that a phoenix? The soldiers were equally stunned, recognizing it as the legendary Golden Phoenix. an ancient divine beast. They could not comprehend the extent of Subai's power. Subai then raised his 10,000 souls banner, activating it to seal the undead monster. Chains shot out toward it. The Bone Fiend Lord roared, "Don't even think about enslaving me. I, the Bone Fiend Lord, will never surrender." But before he could escape, the chains wrapped around him. Realizing he was defeated, the Bone Fiend Lord admitted, "Though it's humiliating, following a nascent soul powerhouse sounds far better than sticking with that brat." The soul banner then devoured him completely, sealing him inside. A system notification appeared. "Congratulations, host, for slaying a commander-level creature. 10,000 souls banner has leveled up. Host's current realm, Chi refining stage. 10,000 souls. Banner level 4. Controllable boss level undead 1. Controllable advanced undead 2/5. Controllable normal undead 10 out of 20. Before Subai could celebrate, a fit of coughing overtook him, forcing the manifestation of the heavens and earth had overexhausted him, and even caused his cultivation realm to drop. Lin Wangyu rushed to his side, worried. Suddenly, a voice came from the soul banner, the Bone Fiend Lord. He addressed Subai as Lord and offered to help him recover. Manifesting in human form, he transferred a portion of his spiritual energy into Subai. A system notification followed. Current realm restored to mid-stage foundation building. Seeing that, Subai smiled, knowing it was a step beyond his previous stage of foundation building. He understood that the soul energy within the 10,000 souls banner was giving him extra boosts. Turning to the Bone Lord, Subai remarked that it was quite thoughtful of him to offer his spiritual power. The Bone Lord and Subai both knew that, as part of the banner, he served Subai alone, and only hoped Subai would trust him. The Bone Lord acted this way because, after witnessing the manifestation of heaven and earth and the divine weapon infused with Phoenix power, he realized Subai must have been in the nascent soul realm before arriving in this world. With such a foundation, Subai would surely rise to the peak again. If the Bone Lord served him faithfully and followed his path, he too could climb back to the top. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but laugh. Worried, Lin Wangyu asked again if Subai was all right, as she had just seen blood at the corner of his mouth. Seeing her so concerned, Subai grew confused. He still couldn't understand why Lin Wangyu and the others had tried to assassinate him before his transmigration, but he figured it didn't matter anymore. The attempt had already happened. The reason no longer mattered. What mattered now was figuring out this world and acquiring more spirit stones. He turned to the soldier's captain and asked him to take them to see Li Zhenghao. The captain agreed, addressing him as Lord Subai. But as they turned to leave, they saw hundreds of zombies surrendering to them. Annoyed, Subai muttered, "These zombies just keep coming." Just then, the Bone Lord emerged from the soul banner in his spirit form and shouted at the zombies, "Blind beasts, don't you kneel when you see our lord?" Hearing this, the zombies slowly backed away, opening a path for Subai and his group to pass. One soldier was so shocked that he told his comrade, "Captain Xiao said Subai could take on 100 by himself, and I didn't believe it. But this isn't just fighting 100. These zombies are kneeling in submission." He shuddered. "This Subai is terrifying. Ability users are like gods." Even Teacher Li was amazed, thinking, "This young man is remarkable. That golden phoenix from earlier, and the ability to harvest and command souls. In this chaotic post-apocalyptic world, could he become the new hero?" Meanwhile, in a distant house, the residence of the Glasses Guy's master, the Glasses Guy reported that the Bone Fiend Lord had been killed. His master was shocked, saying it was impossible. The Glasses Guy sent pictures as proof, assuring his master that he wouldn't dare make false reports. These were images captured from the scene. Upon seeing Subai's techniques, the master immediately recognized them as the manifestation of heaven and earth and the Phoenix Fury Sword, techniques of none other than his own master, Subai. This man had once provoked the other disciples into killing Subai. Now, seeing that his master had arrived in this world too, and was progressing faster than him, rage filled his heart. He knew he needed to hurry and find the junior sisters. He told the Glasses Guy that he recognized Subai, ordering him to mobilize all forces and kill him as soon as he stepped into the prison land. If he failed, he was to slaughter everyone inside the prison land. The Glasses Guy acknowledged the order. On the other hand, Subai and his team arrived at the place where Teacher Li's father, Li Zhenghao, was trapped with other survivors. When those survivors saw the group of skeleton zombies outside, they panicked and asked Li Zhenghao what to do. Li Zhenghao told them not to worry. He had information about the spirit cave, the very location the Glasses Guy had mentioned. It was inside the prison land. Li Zhenghao explained they had been kidnapped for information about the spirit cave. Suddenly, a member of Li Zhenghao's team spotted Subai and the others. Excitedly, he called for everyone to look, saying someone had come to rescue them. He recognized Teacher Li and told Li Zhenghao that his daughter was here. Everyone looked out the window and saw a powerful ability user, before whom even zombies knelt. But as Subai and his group approached the building, Lin Wangyu suddenly spotted something hurtling toward them. She called out to Subai. It was a huge shuriken blade spinning rapidly through the air. The Bone Lord immediately emerged, telling Subai not to panic and to leave it to him. He swung his massive mace to block the giant shuriken blade, but just as he blocked it, a skeleton ninja appeared and kicked him hard, sending the Bone Lord flying backward. That skeleton ninja recognized the Bone Lord and was shocked to see he wasn't dead, and even more surprised that he had switched sides. Standing beside Subai, the Bone Lord told the skeleton ninja that this was his new master. He warned him to get out of the way quickly if he valued his life. Seeing the Bone Lord's arrogance, the skeleton ninja smirked and asked, "Who are you to command me?" He then ordered his skeleton subordinates to attack, saying, "Master's orders, kill them, and you'll be greatly rewarded." The moment Subai saw the skeleton ninja, he immediately realized it was just like the Bone Lord, appearing to be at the Golden Core realm, but actually only at the peak of Foundation establishment. He took out the sword from before and told Lin Wangyu to watch closely. With a swift motion, he hurled the sword at the skeleton ninja and unleashed his phoenix cry. The sword transformed into a blazing fire phoenix and charged straight toward the skeleton ninja. Seeing that fiery bird, Lin Wangyu felt an odd sense of familiarity, though she couldn't recall why. The skeleton ninja recognized it as a divine artifact, but it was already too late. Neither he nor his subordinates could move. Subai knew there was no need to exhaust himself further. At mid-stage Foundation establishment, wielding Phoenix Cry was already enough to overwhelm those at the peak of the stage. He told the Bone Lord that the skeleton ninja was his to handle. The Bone Lord's eyes lit up with excitement. "That's just what I wanted," he said gratefully. Thanking his master for the opportunity, he lunged toward the skeleton ninja, eager to crush him with his own hands. With the fire phoenix locking the enemy in place, the skeleton ninja couldn't escape. The Bone Lord's mace smashed into his skull, sending his head flying. A system notification rang out. "Congratulations, host, for killing a commander-level creature." His experience points increased, though not enough to level up. The 10,000 Souls banner, now at level 4, could still control only one boss-level undead. Subai didn't dwell on it. Instead, he asked the Bone Lord if he could handle the skeleton ninja's golden body, suggesting that it might help him break through to the next stage. The Bone Lord was momentarily surprised, then overjoyed. He vowed to serve Subai with absolute loyalty, even unto death. As he devoured the skeleton ninja's body, the Bone Lord laughed at his fallen foe. "If I hadn't joined Master Subai, I'd be the one getting eaten right now." Energy surged through his form, and he announced that his power was now firmly at the Golden Core realm. If he faced that blood zombie again, he could take on 10 of them at once. The people trapped in the building cheered when they saw Subai defeat the skeleton ninja with a single strike. "This young man is the most powerful ability user I've ever seen," one said in awe. But their relief was short-lived. A dark shadow descended onto the building's rooftop, and silence fell. In the next instant, the shadow shattered the glass with a deafening crash. Panic gripped the survivors. The figure revealed itself, a massive bird-like monster, its entire body composed of bone. The Bone Bird Man let out an earth-shattering roar, sending out a sonic wave so strong it shattered every window in the building. As the sound wave surged toward Subai and his companions, the Bone Lord stepped forward, warning Subai to be cautious. Subai immediately recognized the threat. This was a genuine Golden Core realm opponent, brimming with spiritual energy. Instead of fear, excitement surged in him. If he could kill it, he was certain he would break through to the peak of Foundation establishment, and the 10,000 Souls banner would rise to level 5. Inside the building, fear swept through the survivors. Cries rang out, "It's the Bone Bird Man! We're finished." Completely finished. They remembered all too well what had happened last time. The team of 12 ability users who had come to rescue them earlier had slaughtered zombies with ease. But when the Bone Bird Man appeared, all 12 were wiped out in less than 5 seconds, without even landing a hit. Even Lin Wangyu's confidence faltered. "It's over. We're done for," she thought. But amid the growing panic, Teacher Li's father raised his voice, urging everyone to hold on a little longer. "You must believe in the young man standing beside my daughter, Jingya," he said firmly. That glasses guy was also there, watching from a distant building. He was the one controlling all the monsters that had attacked Subai. He was thrilled. His master had ordered him to kill Subai, but clearly didn't believe he could pull it off. Determined to prove himself, the glasses guy planned to kill Subai and flaunt the victory before his master. That was why he summoned the Bone Bird Man, a genuine Golden Core realm monster with 5 clones, each possessing a different ability. A confident smile spread across his face as he waited to see how Subai would handle this challenge. When the Bone Bird Man saw that Subai was only at the mid-stage of Foundation establishment, he laughed mockingly. Such delicious flesh and blood. Today, you will become my food. The Bone Bird Man spread his massive wings and soared into the sky. As he rose, his form split into 5 distinct Bone Bird Men, each with differently colored wings. Hovering above Subai, the red-winged Bone Bird Man roared ferociously, unleashing a deafening sound wave. This was no ordinary roar. It was the devastating sonic attack of the Sonar Birdman. The sound was so powerful that everyone instantly collapsed to the ground, clutching their heads in agony. Even the Bone Lord grimaced in pain. He quickly warned Subai, "This Birdman was my previous master's trump card puppet. The strongest weapon in his arsenal. That's the Sonar Birdman. The others are Venom, Blade, Bronze Wall, and Titan." Hearing this, Subai grew tense. The sonic waves didn't cause him as much physical pain as they did to Lin Wangyu, but they were suppressing his internal spiritual energy. If the other 4 attacked together now, it could become a serious problem. Without hesitation, Subai raised his 10,000 souls banner and told the Bone Lord, "Since you said you can take on 10, I'll leave this to you." The Bone Lord didn't waste a moment. "Leave it to me," he bellowed, leaping toward the red-winged Sonar Birdman. But the yellow-winged Bronze Wall Birdman intercepted him, blocking his mace with its enormous wings. Before the Bone Lord could push forward, the blue-winged Blade Birdman attacked, launching razor-sharp feather blades toward him. While the Bone Lord clashed with both enemies, the purple-winged Bone Birdman charged straight at Subai and the others. Seeing it approach, Subai quickly drew his sword. As the purple bird closed in, he unleashed his Phoenix Force Sword Division technique, swinging with all his might. But the purple bird suddenly halted in midair, then retaliated with a midair slash of its own razor-sharp wings. Subai ducked just in time, but the edge of the wing still caught his arm, leaving a bleeding gash. He glanced at the wound. His movements had been slowed, and his aim thrown off. The sonic attack was impairing both his speed and precision. Now his combat strength had dropped to below early-stage Foundation establishment. And worse, he couldn't afford to overuse the Divine Avatar technique again. Doing so repeatedly in such a short span risked shattering his very soul. At that moment, Subai found himself unsure of what move to make next. But Subai was the mighty emperor who had slain demon kings before. He knew this mere birdman was only a matter of time. Once he broke through the Sonar's influence and regained his strength, with the Phoenix Cry sword, he would have a chance. He raised the soul banner and released all his zombies and slaves, ordering them to charge. Subai's zombies and the giant snake rushed toward the Birdman, but even all of them were no match for the Birdman and his clones, who flew into the air, using 5 different powers. As Subai struggled, one suddenly attacked him from behind, injuring his back. As he fell to the ground, the Birdman laughed at his attempt to resist the sonar power, saying it was impossible. Seeing their master mocked, the Bone Lord grew furious and challenged the Birdman. "Aren't you Su Haoji's trump card? Is this all you've got?" Hearing this, the Green Birdman attacked the Bone Lord, mocking him for talking tough when his strength was already spent. It told the Bone Lord that even breaking through to Golden Core meant nothing, because under the Sonar's power, everyone was forced to the ground, unable to fight back. Teacher Lee trembled with fear as she saw that just one cry from the Birdman paralyzed everyone. Even the soldiers were terrified, calling the skeleton Birdman an abomination. How could they possibly defeat it? Lin Wangyu muttered that it was over, everyone would die here. Seeing their despair, the glasses-wearing man laughed, saying his master had ordered him not to kill Subai, but now Subai was completely defenseless. He told them to enjoy being tortured slowly to death by the Bone Bird Man. Watching everyone struggle, Teacher Lee's father came to the window and shouted, begging Subai to stop fighting because he couldn't defeat the Birdman. He pleaded with him to run, to please take Li Jingya and escape. Frustrated, Subai wondered if he really had to use that move. But before he could act, a sudden strike flew toward the Birdman, hitting the red one and forcing it to stop using the sonar power. Just then, a yellow-haired lady leapt into the air, saying they were all too noisy. With another strike of her staff, she smashed the red Birdman's skull, destroying it completely. As it died, the sonar power vanished, and everyone's headaches stopped. Teacher Lee sighed in relief, saying her head no longer hurt. Lin Wangyu turned and asked if Subai had stopped it, but a soldier told her it was a woman. Hearing this, everyone looked at the yellow-haired woman. Teacher Lee was amazed by her dashing figure, and Lin Wangyu commented on her cold, beautiful face. Even the soldiers were shocked by the powerful aura radiating from her. Subai stood up and thanked the yellow-haired girl, but she told him to kill the enemy first, and when they were done, to lend her the soul banner so she could play with it. Meanwhile, the Bone Lord regained his powers and immediately leapt at the Blue Birdman. "Dog Birdman, can't make a sound anymore, can you?" he roared, and with a single strike, he killed it. Seeing this, the Purple Birdman tried to escape into the sky, but before it could flee, Subai's Phoenix Cry sword flew out and cut its neck. The Purple Birdman fell to the ground and died, while the sword returned to Subai. Without the sound waves, the birdmen were utterly defenseless. The Glasses Man immediately recognized the yellow-haired woman wielding the staff. The Weapon King, Chuan Yinyun, why is she here? He couldn't understand it, but decided to follow his master's orders to kill everyone in the warehouse. The Green Birdman asked the yellow one who the staff wielder was, wondering where this wild woman had come from. But the Yellow Birdman reminded him that only the two of them remained, and their master had ordered that if they couldn't kill Subai, they should kill everyone in the warehouse. Inside, the people felt relief at seeing Subai and his team kill 3 of the birdmen, with only 2 left. They believed they were saved and thanked heaven and Subai. Teacher Lee's father confidently declared that no one could stop them from surviving now. But at that moment, the yellow and green birdmen charged toward the warehouse at full speed. Seeing them target the building, Teacher Lee cried out, begging Subai to save her father. Knowing Teacher Lee's father had information about the spirit stones, Subai ordered the Bone Lord to stop them. The Bone Lord charged forward, roaring, "Birdmen, don't you dare run!" He swung his massive mace and struck the yellow birdman with full force, destroying its entire body. But the green birdman seized the opportunity and reached the warehouse. It smashed through the window and entered. Seeing this, everyone inside panicked and tried to run, but there was nowhere to escape. Immediately, the green birdman opened its mouth and released a green fog. Everyone who inhaled the poisonous mist collapsed to the ground. The green birdman laughed, mocking them and telling them to taste the flavor of absolute poison. Teacher Lee's father also breathed in the poison. Calling his daughter's name with his final breath, he fell to the ground. Seeing her father dying, Teacher Lee rushed forward, but Lin Wangyu called out from behind, warning her that if she entered the fog, she would die too. Unable to reach her father, Teacher Lee could only watch helplessly as he died. Her grief turned to fury. Gritting her teeth in frustration, her anger flared so intensely that her body began glowing with purple energy. She screamed in agony as her power surged uncontrollably. Seeing this, the yellow-haired lady Yin-yun realized that Teacher Lee was awakening, but it seemed she couldn't withstand the force of her own power. Bone Lord frowned, sensing the chaos in her aura. He thought her body might explode from the violent energy. Subai's expression darkened as he sensed it too. From the nature of her energy, he wondered if she had awakened that kind of ability. Without hesitation, he grabbed the unstable Teacher Lee and soared into the sky. For him, this chaotic energy was nothing new. He had seen countless disciples experience this before. As the Immortal Realm Emperor, such matters were child's play. Raising his soul banner, Subai commanded it to form a barrier around them. Once the barrier was in place, he channeled his own energy into Teacher Lee's body, knowing that with proper guidance, chaotic awakenings could be stabilized quickly. Lin Wangyu, watching from below, felt a strange sense of déjà vu. In her mind, she saw herself standing in front while Subai stood behind her, channeling energy into her body. A single word surfaced in her thoughts: Master. She couldn't understand why, but seeing Subai and Teacher Lee together made her feel unexpectedly sour. After a few minutes, Subai brought Teacher Lee back down to the ground. She had calmed, her awakening stabilized under his guidance. Subai then told her to test her ability, give the birdman a fitting punishment. Hearing that, the green birdman sneered. He mocked Subai, asking who he thought he was trying to fool, and then turned to flee. But Teacher Lee shouted, "Birdman! Your wings have malfunctioned. You've fallen to the ground." The moment her words left her lips, the green birdman's wings truly malfunctioned. Shocked, he plummeted from the sky, unable to understand how his wings had failed for real. Everyone stared in disbelief. Just by speaking, Teacher Lee had made reality bend to her words. Lin Wangyu could not believe her eyes. Bone Lord muttered in suspicion, wondering if this ability could be what he thought it was. Teacher Lee confirmed it herself. That's right. This ability is called Words Become Reality. My words are truth. My words are reality. And of course, it was thanks to Subai's guidance that I was able to master it. Subai immediately ordered Bone Lord to finish off the Birdman and told Teacher Lee to go and save her father. She acknowledged and ran off. Bone Lord raised his massive mace and laughed as he struck the fallen Birdman with full force. "This is my true power at the Golden Core realm," he roared. With a single crushing blow, the green Birdman was destroyed. As it died, Subai raised his soul banner and chains of spiritual energy shot out, binding and capturing the Birdman's soul. The glasses-wearing man was stunned. Subai had truly demonstrated his strength. Even the Bone Birdman had been taken down, but he consoled himself, thinking it was fine. The people in the warehouse should already be dead, so the mission wasn't a failure. Just then, a system notification appeared before Subai. "Congratulations, host. You have slain a commander-level creature. The banner of 10,000 souls has leveled up. Current realm, Foundation Establishment. Banner level, 5. Controllable boss level, Undead, 2. Controllable ordinary, Undead, 39. And with that, the soul of the green bone bird was pulled into the banner, shackled by chains of light. The once mighty creature could never have imagined that it would one day be captured inside the banner of 10,000 souls. Bone Lord told the Birdman that he should consider himself lucky to become a soul in the Master's banner and ordered him to serve their master well. Hearing them speak, Subai looked into the soul banner and asked the Birdman if there was a way to neutralize the poison. The Birdman turned his head away in silence. This angered Bone Lord, who struck the Birdman fiercely. "When Master asks you a question, you answer," he roared, "or I'll tear your bones apart." Left with no choice, the Birdman finally spoke. He told Subai that if he sucked the poison out, it would naturally dissipate. Without hesitation, Subai followed Teacher Lee into the warehouse. They ran up the staircase and reached the 3rd floor. Teacher Lee flung open the door and rushed inside, calling out for her father, who lay unconscious on the ground. Seeing him in that state, Teacher Lee immediately unleashed her power. She shouted, "Let the poison in Li Zhenghao's body leave him," but nothing happened. Her ability failed, and her father remained still. She tried again, but before she could speak, she felt a wave of nausea. Collapsing to the floor, she vomited a massive mouthful of blood. Teacher Lee stared in horror at the blood staining the ground. Subai explained firmly, "The Words Become Reality ability is powerful and versatile, but it is extremely demanding on spiritual energy and one's own body. If overdrawn, at best you'll fall into a coma. At worst, it will shatter your bones and marrow, or even take your life. You're lucky this time it only caused you to cough blood. Next time if you force it, you might not survive." Then he raised the soul banner and commanded the Birdman to come forth. His voice was cold as he warned, "If Teacher Lee's father dies, your soul will scatter and vanish forever." Terrified, the Birdman immediately appeared and said he would do it right away. He rushed to Teacher Lee's father and began sucking the green poison mist from his body. Drawing on his full strength, he pulled out every trace of the venom. Finally, he turned to Subai and reported, "The poison has been in his body for too long. I managed to save his life, but I cannot say when he will wake up." Hearing this, Teacher Lee burst into tears of relief and rushed to her father's side. Subai, however, felt a stab of disappointment. If Li Zhenghao remained unconscious, he still wouldn't know the whereabouts of the spirit stones, and he didn't know what to do next. Seeing Subai worried, Lin Wangyu stepped forward. Without realizing it, she blurted out, "Master," then quickly corrected herself, saying, "Mr. Subai, I can sense an energy body in Mr. Lee's possession." She frowned, confused. "Why do I keep calling him Master? What exactly is my connection to him?" Subai bent down to check Li Zhenghao's belongings, and to his shock, he really did possess a spiritual crystal, and not just any crystal, but a high-grade one. His eyes widened. In this world without spiritual energy, a high-grade spirit stone existed? He handed the crystal to Lin Wangyu and asked her to try sensing it. She closed her eyes, holding the stone, and focused on its aura. After several seconds, her eyes snapped open in shock. She pointed east and declared, "I can feel it. This stone originated from that direction, about 20 to 30 kilometers away." Subai immediately turned and said, "Let's go. We're heading east." Teacher Lee interrupted, saying she needed to stay and care for her father. She wouldn't be able to go with them. Understanding her situation, Subai simply nodded and prepared to leave. But before he could, Yin Yun, the yellow-haired woman, stepped forward and stopped him. "Subai, do you remember what I asked you earlier?" she said. You wanted to borrow my weapon for a while, Subai replied. That's right, Yin-Yun answered. Subai tossed the soul banner toward her without hesitation. Yin-Yun caught it, stunned. She had expected him to refuse, but he had given her the weapon so easily. With her unique ability, she could absorb the spirit energy of weapons to enhance her own strength. Smiling faintly, she thought, I'll absorb this first, and think about the rest later. Yin-Yun activated her powers and tried to absorb Subai's soul banner's power, but just as she tried, she got shocked. Before understanding anything, she fell on her knees. She could not understand what was going on. Her ability had no effect on the soul banner, and she even got backlashed after trying to absorb its power. Subai then came and took out the phoenix sword, asking Yin-Yun, how about she play with this one instead? Embarrassed, Yin-Yun tried to act calm, saying Subai's weapons were truly strange and very powerful. Saying that, she handed over the soul banner to Subai. She looked at Subai in suspicion because Subai had just used this sword to cut down the bone bird, so it must be an extraordinary item, and now he was giving it to her willingly. She wondered if he was that confident. But Yin-Yun snatched the phoenix sword from his hand, saying whatever. She didn't believe they were all this bizarre. She immediately activated her power and tried to absorb the phoenix sword's power. But the next second she saw a vision where a huge fire phoenix was attacking her. Yin-Yun immediately fell on the ground and vomited blood from her mouth. This effect was worse than the soul banner. She looked at Subai in anger, wondering what kind of weird things were his weapons. Countless souls, and now a divine phoenix. Now she wanted to know exactly who he was and what his ability was. When Subai saw her looking, he smiled. He had realized that her ability was absorbing the spirit of weapons, and it was quite common in that world. But unfortunately, the Phoenix Cry Sword was a divine artifact, and the banner of 10,000 souls was given by the system, even beyond a divine artifact, and she was only at the peak of Foundation Establishment realm. Embarrassed for the second time, Yin-Yun handed over the Phoenix Sword to Subai, saying Mr. Su's divine weapons were truly impressive. Subai then asked her to come with him, and all the weapons they seized along the way would be hers. She was surprised to hear that. She turned and said, "It's a deal." Meanwhile, inside the soul banner, Birdman called Bone Lord an old schemer because it even absorbed Yin-Yun's spiritual energy. Bone Lord laughed and told the Birdman that it did it all for Master, and asked it to watch and learn. Bone Lord then used sound transmission and told Subai that it had just absorbed some spiritual energy from that girl for him to help him. Hearing that, Subai got happy and praised Bone Lord, saying he was very thoughtful. He told the Bone Lord that in the future, when it encountered souls with spiritual energy, it could have them all. Hearing that, Bone Lord got happy. Subai then turned to check his realm. His current realm was Advanced Foundation Establishment. At Mid-Foundation Establishment, Subai's one sword strike could defeat Peak Foundation Establishment. Now breaking through to Advanced, even Golden Core realm might not be unbeatable. Then they all came out of that warehouse, along with Teacher Li's father. Subai told Captain Xiao that this was where they parted ways. Captain Xiao told Subai to don't worry, saying they would make sure to protect Teacher Li and the other survivors. At the same time, at a faraway place, a rich family along with their bodyguards were trapped in a house surrounded by zombies. One of the bodyguards shouted, asking what about the master? We can't break through at all. Just then the zombies broke free and attacked the bodyguards. The family head along with his daughter were terrified, screaming. This was the Jai family house. The family head started crying while hugging his daughter, saying his Jai family had struggled for 100 years to finally reach the top of the wealthy, and now they faced the apocalypse. He shouted, asking who would save his Ji family and his daughter. Just then somebody came there with lightning speed, and with a swing of his sword he sliced those zombies into pieces. It was none other than Subai's disciple Shen Yunbin, who had collided with other disciples to kill Subai. When Ji family's bodyguards saw him, they immediately told their master that it was ability users, explaining that they were too strong, like war gods. Hearing that, the Ji family head and his daughter got very excited, thinking they were saved. Yunbin looked at the Ji family daughter, calling her fake Shui, saying long time no see. Hearing that, the Ji family head got shocked and turned to his daughter, asking if they knew each other. His daughter immediately declined, saying no, but admitted that she felt like they had met before. Yunbin got close and patted Fake Sue's head and called her Little Snow, explaining to her that she was his dear junior sister. Hearing him call her junior sister, Little Snow immediately remembered everything about her senior brothers and sisters and her master. When Subai's face snapped in front of her eyes, she opened her eyes in shock. She called Yunbin's senior brother and told him that she seemed to remember everything now. Saying that, she laughed and activated her power. Many coins started floating around her immediately. Yunbin congratulated Little Snow as her memory and ability had been restored and told her that now it was time to deal with more important matters. Little Snow said yes. She turned and threw some coins in the air. Those coins spread around the GI family house and created a golden barrier, pushing all the zombies out of it. Little Snow told her father that this was farewell. She was leaving with her senior brother on important business and told him to don't leave the space where the coins were. Zombies couldn't enter there. Saying that, she left from there. After coming out, she took a deep breath and said the air here was very polluted, but compared to underground, it was too fresh. Yunbin told her that now was not the time for nostalgia, adding that if they didn't eliminate Master, this world would become even worse. Hearing the word Master, a smile came on Little Snow's face. She smiled and said, "My beloved and respected Master, why did you do this? Since you're not dead, my senior brother and I will have to continue our righteous patricide." Yunbin told her that their master was now heading to the spirit cave, so they must get there first, obtain the spirit stones, and then kill him. Meanwhile in the city, Yunbin's disciple, that glasses guy, was standing on the rooftop of a building. He was shocked to see that his mission failed, but he laughed because in his eyes there was no such word as failure. He decided that as long as he killed Subai and his master gave him that thing, he could return to his own world. On the other hand, while Subai, Lin Wangyu and Yin Yun were going, some people who were getting attacked by zombies asked for their help, saying, "Ability users, save me." But Subai just walked past them. Seeing those people, Lin Wangyu asked Subai if they were really not going to save them. Hearing that, Yin Yun called her naive, explaining that they couldn't save everyone. In the apocalypse, improving their own strength was key. Then after they left the city, Lin Wangyu pointed in a direction and told Subai that from here 10 miles ahead was the source of those stones. Hearing that, Subai asked them to speed up to avoid any trouble. But just then, Lin Wangyu saw something shocking and told Subai that a large mass of spiritual energy was approaching. When they looked ahead, they saw the glasses guy coming towards them on a bone horse, and behind him was an undead army. Glasses guy stopped his bone horse right before Subai. He looked at Subai and said, "Mr. Subai, you killed 3 of my generals and are just leaving like this. That's not very polite, you know." Hearing that, Subai got serious, realizing he was the one controlling those monsters. When Birdman saw the glasses guy, it panicked, saying it's over. It's the master and he's actually coming out himself. But the Bone Lord angrily told the Birdman that he was their master. Their only master now was Subai. Hearing Birdman, Subai asked it if it was scared. Birdman said not at all and asked Subai to just give the order. Hearing that, Subai smiled and summoned both Birdman and Bone Lord, ordering them to go and test the enemy's strength. Seeing them coming, Glasses Guy laughed, saying how presumptuous. He called the Bone Lord and Birdman, asking if they had forgotten his tireless teachings. How dare they draw their weapons against him? Just as he said that, the ground below Bone Lord and Birdman broke, scaring both of them. Immediately, the whole surrounding changed. The Bone Lord and Birdman flew onto a piece of land in the air and sat on the ground all scared. Seeing that, Yin Yun got shocked, saying this guy's voice had some kind of ability to interfere with people's minds. Subai immediately realized that it was a mental interference ability and asked everyone to cover their ears. But Yin Yun didn't listen to Subai and jumped to attack the glasses guy, saying what's so great about that. She raised her staff to attack, shouting, "Eat my staff, you bastard!" Seeing her, the glasses guy laughed, saying such a beautiful young lady, how can you be so crude? Saying that, he used his power on Yin Yun. Before Yin Yun could get near him, her mind got hit. She immediately fell in front of the glasses guy, unable to do anything. Her personality changed completely and she started crying like a baby, calling her mama. Seeing her like that, Subai used the soul banner to communicate with Bone Lord, asking it if the glasses guy could create illusions too. Bone Lord told Subai that the glasses guy's entire body was full of mental control realms. His voice, his eyes, even every pore and cell. Hearing that, Subai smiled, saying, "Mental control, quite an impressive ability." However, blocking mental control wasn't that difficult. Subai then swung his hand in the air and used a technique. He gathered spiritual energy from the surroundings and created an energy layer over his body. This energy layer covered Subai's whole body, along with his head and arms. When the glasses guy saw Subai blocking the perception of every part of his body, he laughed and asked how will Subai fight then. But just as he completed his words, Subai immediately attacked him with the Phoenix sword, telling the glasses guy to worry about himself. The phoenix fire hit the glasses guy, burning his whole body. He screamed in pain. Subai looked at him with a serious expression because he saw through the glasses guy's acting. Glasses guy mocked Subai, laughing, saying, "Can't catch me, can you?" He told Subai that he had seen all his tricks. They were nothing special. Besides, did Subai really think he was helpless just because Subai had blocked the perception of every part of his body? Glasses guy called his skeleton warriors and ordered them to farm ranks. Immediately, Glasses guy's skeleton warriors surrounded Subai, Lin Wangyu, and Yin Yun. Both Lin Wangyu and Yin Yun fell on the ground crying. Lin Wangyu also fell into an illusion, seeing Yin Yun as her child. She hugged Yin Yun, asking her to don't cry. Seeing that, Bone Lord panicked and told Subai that they had entered Glasses guy's domain, explaining that he had set this place up in advance, and once they entered this domain, they couldn't escape his mental control. Just as Bone Lord said that, Subai also fell into Glasses guy's domain. He found himself in his own world, cultivating in the air while his disciples were sitting in front of him. Subai's 5 female disciples were looking at him while their master, Subai, had completely stopped moving. Seeing that, Glasses guy laughed, telling Subai that even with his impressive strength, he had still fallen when he met him. Glasses guy decided to see what was actually in Subai's illusion. He entered Subai's illusion, where he saw Subai teaching his disciples. There was Yunbin too. Subai told Yunbin that every detail must be perfect. A tiny error can lead to a huge difference. Yunbin said yes, master, and followed his words. When the Glasses guy saw Yunbin, he got shocked. He recognized that this was his master. Glasses guy's jaw dropped when he found out that his master was actually Subai's disciple. He got too confused, wondering who on earth was this Subai. Why did the master want to kill his own teacher? While Glasses guy was lost in his thoughts, suddenly Subai turned around and looked directly at him. This surprised the Glasses guy. Subai laughed, asking, "Have you finished watching, so you're Shen Yunbin's lackey?" Glasses guy got shocked seeing that Subai had independent consciousness. Subai didn't reply to him and took out the phoenix sword. He gathered fire in the sword and used his phoenix cry sword third form, breaking the classic, and swung at the Glasses guy, cutting him in half. The illusion broke and the Glasses guy fell on the ground. Subai asked the Glasses guy if he thought he was just simply swinging his sword. Subai told him that he was not cutting him, but his illusion. He pointed his sword at the Glasses guy's head, angry that he had repeatedly offended him just for Shen Yunbin. Subai now started to wonder if everything behind this was all Shen Yunbin's doing. He grew furious because he had treated Shen Yunbin like a son, yet he conspired and backstabbed him. But even when a sword was pointed at him, the Glasses guy was laughing. Immediately, 2 skeleton warriors came from behind to attack Subai. Subai turned and cut down those skeletons with his phoenix sword. But the Glasses guy used this opportunity to escape, laughing and saying, "So what if you've broken my illusion? You still can't catch me." He put some distance between him and Subai, and then turned around. He took out sharp blades, telling Subai that he could dominate this apocalyptic world, not just relying on illusion techniques. He threw those sharp blades at Subai, saying killing the master's teacher, just thinking about it is exciting. Seeing him attacking, Subai smiled and asked Bone Lord if they understood the Glasses guy's weaknesses. Bone Lord and Birdman replied that they did. Hearing that, Subai said very good and summoned both Bone Lord and Birdman, telling them that he was leaving the Glasses guy's soul consciousness to them. Just as Subai said that, both Bone Lord and Birdman came out of the soul banner and charged at the Glasses guy. Seeing them coming, Glasses guy grew angry and shouted, "Bone Lord, you dare to face me in combat!" He threw more blades at Bone Lord and Birdman, telling them to come back after training for another 100 years. But the Bone Lord blocked all the blades of the Glasses guy, saying he looked down on others too much. Birdman used his wings to deflect all the blades, telling Glasses guy that he should reassess after 3 days apart. When the Glasses guy heard that, he realized that something was off. He used his senses and got shocked to feel Bone Lord and Birdman's aura. Both Bone Lord and Birdman jumped to attack the Glasses guy. Still in shock, Glasses guy asked if they had broken through to the Golden Core realm. How was that possible? Birdman used its legs to attack the Glasses guy, telling him that following the new master, it ate 6 meals a day. Bone Lord attacked the Glasses guy with its giant mace. Bone Lord laughed, telling the Glasses guy that reaching Golden Core was normal now. He asked Glasses guy to surrender, saying he was no match for his master. Hearing that, Glasses guy laughed, calling Subai a petty man in power. He used the blade fans in his hands and with full power pushed both the Birdman and Bone Lord, sending them flying into the air, telling them that with his treasure in hand, they couldn't kill him even if they wanted to. Glasses guy immediately turned to run away from there, telling them to get out of his way. He was very annoyed and decided that he would concede this time. But just then, Yin Yun jumped from behind to attack the glasses guy. She hit the glasses guy's hand, making him drop the blade fan. That blade fan went flying in the air and landed in Yin Yun's hands. Yin Yun grabbed the blade fan and completely stripped the glasses guy of his treasure. She then used her power and absorbed that blade fan's spirit into herself. That spirit power was too sweet for her, making her feel very good. She then threw the blade fan on the ground right in front of the glasses guy. When the glasses guy saw that, he immediately picked up the blade fan, but when he tried to use it, he got shocked. He could not understand why it wasn't responding at all. But before he could understand anything, Yin Yun kicked him in the face, sending him flying away. Her kick broke the glasses guy's glasses. After defeating the glasses guy, Yin Yun turned and thanked Subai for the treasured fan, saying it smells good. After the glasses guy was defeated, both the Bone Lord and Birdman came running to him. Both Bone Lord and Birdman used their giant mace and kicks to finish off the glasses guy. Bone Lord grabbed the glasses guy's corpse, laughing, saying, "Old master, I'm going to eat your soul now." But before he did, the Birdman attacked the Bone Lord, asking to let him eat because he hadn't eaten before. Bone Lord pushed the Birdman, saying, "Go away, you are new here. Why are you butting in?" Hearing that, Birdman started fighting the Bone Lord, asking him to let him go first or he would chop him up. But Bone Lord told it to stop boasting, asking if it wanted to have a go. When Subai saw them fighting, he just told them to split it in half. Hearing their master's command, they finally stopped and agreed to split it in half. As the Bone Lord was splitting the soul of the glasses guy with Birdman, it wondered how Subai knew it was aware of the glasses guy's weakness. This made the Bone Lord realize that his new master was far smarter than the glasses guy, and so he should better behave himself. Both Bone Lord and the Birdman then absorbed the glasses guy's soul. Immediately the Birdman shouted in excitement, saying it tasted so good it felt like it was approaching mid-golden core. Bone Lord agreed, saying the flavor was absolutely amazing. Bone Lord then turned and sent some spiritual energy towards Subai, telling him that the glasses guy's spiritual energy was truly abundant and he couldn't bear to enjoy it alone and wished to offer it to him. Birdman joined in, saying it too wanted to give the spiritual energy to him. Subai absorbed that spiritual energy and thanked them. Subai then checked his status window. Subai's current realm was Peak Foundation Establishment, and the banner of 10,000 souls was at level 5. Its current controllable boss level undead was 2, and current controllable common undead was 30. Subai was shocked to see that the banner's level didn't increase, but his realm improved quite a bit. Subai realized that as long as he found the spirit cave, breaking through to Golden Core was within reach. Now that Subai had reached Peak Foundation Establishment, he could explore his Sea of Consciousness again. Subai then tried to touch his consciousness and got shocked. He could actually touch it. It was too wonderful. Meanwhile, 10 miles away from there in a rocky area, on a huge mountain's backside, there was a huge cave, and Yunbin and Little Snow were standing at the entrance of the cave. Looking at that cave, Little Snow asked her senior brother if this was the place, adding that she could feel the spiritual energy was very dense inside. Yunbin asked her to let's go in quickly, or they might miss their chance. While going inside, Yunbin realized that his disciple, that glasses guy, had lost his vitality. He got annoyed because of glasses guy acting on his own. Now Yunbin had lost another important piece. He admitted that his master, Subai, was still so formidable. When they went deep inside the cave, they started to see huge spirit stones all over the cave walls. Seeing all that, Little Snow asked Yunbin why they were not picking spirit stones from the walls. While walking ahead, Yunbin asked her if she knew. The core of this spirit cave was a spirit spring. Right in front of them was a small spring filled with spirit water. Seeing such a dense spirit spring, Little Snow got very excited, saying staying here for a day might lead to a major breakthrough. Yunbin told her he had 3 leads on such spirit caves, but then Little Snow heard some footsteps from behind. She told her senior brother that it seemed someone was coming from outside. Yunbin said no worries, asking if she had forgotten her senior brother's first-class illusions. Yunbin laughed and used his illusion power in that cave, and immediately some voices came of people fighting. One guy shouted, "You dare steal my spirit stones." Another shouted, "You're talking nonsense. Clearly you stole mine, you're asking for death." Meanwhile, at the entrance of the spirit cave, Subai had arrived there with Lin Wangju and Yin Yun. When Lin Wangju saw the cave, she pointed inside and told Subai that it was right inside and very dense. Subai looked inside the cave and saw spirit crystals shining there. He asked both Lin Wangju and Yin Yun to let's go inside the cave, and all 3 of them entered the cave. As Subai, Lin Wangchu, and Yin Yun walked deeper into the cave, they noticed that the walls were filled with empty spirit stone cavities. All the stones had already been taken, yet the air was still thick with spiritual energy. Subai calmly observed the surroundings and concluded that there must be a spiritual spring nearby. He instructed Lin Wangchu to guide the others in the direction where the energy felt strongest. Lin Wangchu respectfully agreed, but hearing that, Yin Yun was puzzled. She had never heard of a spiritual spring before, but judging by Subai's expression, she guessed it must be something valuable. Inside the Soul Banner, when Bone Lord and Birdman heard that there was actually a spiritual spring, both of them got excited. Bone Lord exclaimed that such a treasure could raise their cultivation by at least 2 minor realms. Birdman started dancing, saying that ever since they had followed this new master, good fortune seemed endless. Back in the tunnel, Subai's group was suddenly met with the sound of a violent clash. Dust and debris scattered as 2 men fought fiercely over a weapon lodged in the ground. One shouted that the divine weapon was his, and warned the other not to snatch it. The other roared back, claiming the magic staff as his own. Watching from a distance, Yin Yun recognized the fighters, and told Subai that they were Iron Arms and Bronze Legs. She went on to explain that Iron Arms and Bronze Legs were among the earliest awakened mutants. Their names reflected their power. Their limbs were virtually indestructible. Just 2 weeks ago, even rocket launchers had failed to harm them. Hearing that, Subai thought carefully. He remembered that the rescue team only carried bullets effective up to the Foundation Establishment realm, but rocket launchers were much stronger. If even those couldn't scratch these two, then Iron Arms and Bronze Legs had to be above Subai's current realm. As Subai watched the 2 men fight, he noticed the object at the center of the struggle. It was nothing more than a plain wooden staff. Seeing that, Lin Wangchu frowned, wondering why anyone would fight so desperately over something so ordinary. Subai calmly reasoned that the 2 men must have fallen into an illusion, their minds ensnared. Whoever had the power to trap them in such a way had to be incredibly strong. Lin Wangchu suddenly pointed ahead and told Subai that the source of the dense spiritual energy was just inside. Subai's sharp eyes turned toward the direction she indicated. Lin Wangchu hesitated, placing a hand near her lips as a strange feeling stirred within her. She whispered that the energy seemed oddly familiar. Subai's expression hardened as realization struck him. A cold light flashed in his eyes as he confirmed his suspicion. The one absorbing the spiritual spring was no stranger. It was his very own traitor. Suddenly, Iron Arms and Bronze Legs stopped their struggle for a moment, their eyes shifting toward Subai and his companions. Bronze Legs muttered that he didn't like having spectators around and suggested they get rid of them. Iron Arms agreed without hesitation. With a sudden roar, both men launched themselves forward, attacking at full speed. Seeing that, Yin Yun in the black combat suit stepped forward confidently. After absorbing the treasure fan earlier, her strength had surged. Smirking, she declared that she had energy to spare and told Subai to leave those 2 to her. She leapt into the fray, moving swiftly. She clashed head-on with the 2 mutants, her strikes sharp and precise. The cavern echoed with the sounds of their fierce battle. But suddenly, Iron Arms grabbed hold of her wooden staff, his iron-like grip making the wood splinter and crack. A dangerous glint appeared in his eyes as he studied her. With a mocking smile, he admitted that the woman had impressive skills. Bronze Legs speculated that the staff wielder they were dealing with might be none other than the Artifact King himself. A twisted smile spread across Iron Arms' face. He charged forward, sneering that mere skills would never be enough to save her, smashing through her defense and shattering the wooden staff in her hands. Yin Yun fought back fiercely, but before she could regain her footing, Bronze Legs moved like lightning. His kick struck her directly, sending her crashing back with a scream. Pain shot through her body as she realized in shock that her meridians had been severed with a single kick. She couldn't understand how they had grown stronger so quickly, outpacing her despite her efforts. As she fell, her strength fading, Subai caught her in his arms, steadying her before she hit the ground. With a calm voice, he raised his soul banner and released the Bone Lord and Birdman, saying he would heal her, and leaving them to fight Iron Arms and Bronze Legs. Bone Lord and Birdman surged forward, clashing against the enemies with overwhelming force. Both of them jumped high and attacked. The battlefield was filled with chaos. Bone Lord swung his massive weapon to attack, while Birdman turned into 5 birdmen and used his sonar skill to scream loudly. But Iron Arms blocked Bone Lord's move. Amidst the clash, Subai rushed in, carrying a wounded Yin Yun in his arms. He threw the soul banner to form a barrier around them as he began to heal Yin Yun. Yin Yun's body was weakening because her injuries were severe. Subai looked down at her and spoke calmly, telling her that he would heal her meridians. He warned that it would hurt but urged her to endure it. He then pressed his fingers together, forming a seal. Green spiritual energy flowed from his hands, wrapping around them both like a glowing current. His power seeped into her body, mending her broken meridians. Yin Yun gasped, sweat running down her face as the energy spread through her, pain mixed with relief, her voice trembling as she let out soft cries. Soon, her expression changed. The warmth of Subai's spiritual energy soothed her completely, easing the pain. She realized her meridians were regenerating, stronger than before. In awe, she wondered to herself, just who was Subai really? From a distance, Lin Wangchu spotted the scene. Her face flushed. She muttered that Subai had secluded himself with someone again. A faint sense of longing filled her eyes as she whispered to herself, wondering when it would finally be her turn. On the battlefield, the screeching cries of Birdman echoed everywhere. Iron Arms grew irritated at the noise, cursing under his breath. He turned to Bronze Legs and ordered him to silence the racket. Bronze Legs stepped forward. With a single heavy stomp, the ground cracked beneath his feet. In the next instant, his powerful kick shot out like a cannon, smashing into Birdman with terrifying force. Immediately, Birdman's noise stopped. A smirk spread across Iron Arm's face as he muttered that it was much quieter now. Then, with lightning speed, Iron Arms punched Bone Lord, his fists clashing directly against Bone Lord's armor. The impact was immense, and even Bone Lord had to admit, his opponent's strength was unbelievable. Meanwhile, Birdman found himself struggling against Bronze Legs. Despite his skill, he could not understand how he was being pushed back. His frustration grew as he questioned how he could possibly be losing. Still, he launched another desperate attack, but Bronze Legs jumped to dodge it and then with full power kicked the yellow Birdman's head, destroying it instantly. Seeing that, Birdman was shocked, wondering when such powerful mutants had begun to appear. Not just him. Iron Arms was also attacking Bone Lord fiercely, slamming his blows against the massive warrior. Bone Lord grunted in pain, muttering about his old bones as he struggled to withstand the assault. Then all the Birdmen attacked Bronze Legs together, mocking him, saying he couldn't kick them because they had wings to escape with. Meanwhile, deep within a glowing cave pool, Yunbin and Little Snow sat in the water. Little Snow listened to the distant rumble of battle and commented that the fighting outside was growing intense. She also sensed a presence that felt strangely familiar. Yunbin opened his eyes, his tone calm but certain. He told her that the presence was none other than their dear master. Realization struck her, and she quickly urged that they needed to break through faster, for their master was already near. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, Subai called back his soul banner while holding Yin Yun beside him. Both of their bodies swirled with energy, shaking the ground. Just then, Bone Lord and Birdman cried out in pain as they were struck down. They came flying and hit the cave wall with a solid impact. Weak and desperate, Bone Lord admitted to Subai that he was powerless here. Worried, Birdman suggested that maybe they should retreat. Iron Arms mocked Yin Yun, calling her the once great artifact king who had now fallen so low. Without hesitation, Bronze Legs ordered Iron Arms to stop talking and kill them. Seeing them coming, Yin Yun urged Subai to run, warning that their power had grown dangerous and unpredictable. But Subai stood firm, gripping his sword that burned with energy. Seeing that, Bronze Legs charged forward, scoffing at the glowing sword. He boasted that a single sword could never stop him, and shouted that he would break it in half with one kick. But as his leg met the blade, the fiery sword cut straight through. Bronze Legs screamed in shock, grabbing his bleeding leg. His eyes widened in disbelief as he cried out that this couldn't be happening. Seeing that, Bone Lord and Birdman shouted with excitement. They declared that their master's sword was no ordinary weapon. It was a divine blade. Not even the strength of Iron Arms or Bronze Legs could withstand its power. With great zeal, they praised their master, chanting that all should hail the sovereign. Bronze Legs, cloaked in black, suddenly cried out that he surrendered, yet he arrogantly added that if he chose to flee, no one could possibly stop him. Hearing that, Subai only smiled calmly and took out a rope from his inventory. Without hesitation, he lashed out the rope. The strike was swift and precise, binding the fleeing Bronze Legs. Bronze Legs fell hard to the ground, groaning in pain as he was dragged back. Desperately, Bronze Legs struggled against the ropes, but no matter how much force he used, the bindings held firm. Damn it, he thought, panic filling his chest. What kind of monster is this? It's like crashing into an iron wall. Seeing that, Yin Yun was shocked, realizing that despite Bronze Legs' strength being equal to hundreds of thousands of pounds, he could not break even a single thread. Subai stood tall with the rope still in his hand, his calm expression making the struggle of his opponent seem meaningless. He then gripped the rope tightly in his hand, and Bronze Legs screamed in fear. Subai explained that the rope he held was normally used to tie up his ox, but today it would be used to bind his opponent instead. He told him to consider it an honor. Seeing Bronze Legs tremble, Yin, in shock, questioned Subai. What kind of ox would need such a rope? Unable to believe it, scared Iron Arm stammered, asking Subai if it was a joke. Hearing Subai's words, Lin Wangchu's eyes widened as memories surfaced. She recalled a heavenly savage ox, a divine beast at the Tribulation Passage realm. The realization struck her. It was the immortal binding rope, but she couldn't understand why she remembered such a thing. None of it made sense to her. Struggling on the ground, Bronze Legs glared up, demanding that Subai fight him properly without the cursed rope holding him down. But Subai didn't listen. He swung his sword. Blood splattered across the battlefield as a fierce strike landed. Subai's commanding voice called out, ordering Bone Lord and Birdman to devour the fallen enemy's soul. Immediately, Bone Lord and Birdman took Bronze Leg's soul. Bone Lord praised Subai, saying the master's sword was unstoppable, capable of cutting down even the strongest defenses. Birdman declared that following the new master was the best choice he had ever made. Bone Lord laughed darkly, savoring the soul of Bronze Legs, which was nearly at the Golden Core realm. He said it was delicious, and with their new master, they could feast 8 times a day. Watching this terrifying scene, Yin-Yun's heart raced. She wondered what kind of power Subai had awakened. His strength seemed unimaginable, far beyond what she had ever expected. Even Iron Arms trembled as cold sweat ran down his face. He realized the thread was far too powerful, and even the sword in Subai's hand felt strange. Fear filled his heart. He realized that there was no way they could win, absolutely no way. Iron Arms approached Subai from behind, each step heavy and intimidating. Unable to hold back his fear, Iron Arms fell to his knees and begged. He admitted he had been blind to such overwhelming strength and pleaded for mercy. Desperate to save himself, he offered the Divine Heaven Staff, the weapon he and Bronze Legs had once fought over. But Subai only looked down at him, unimpressed. He said he had preferred him back when he was arrogant and defiant. Confused, Iron Arms turned to pick up what he thought was the Divine Heaven Staff. But to his shock, it was only a rotten stick. His eyes widened in disbelief as he shouted, demanding to know where his real weapon had gone. Subai explained to him that he was caught in an illusion. The so-called Divine Heaven Staff had never been real. Rage and confusion twisted Iron Arms' face. He crushed the stick and roared, demanding to know who had cast such an illusion on them. Subai pointed toward the wall of the cave and revealed that the one responsible was hidden inside. With a calm but commanding voice, he ordered them to break the wall. Yunbin and Little Snow, soaking in the spring, noticed the noise in the distance. Little Snow remarked that it seemed their master had already subdued those 2 men. Yunbin smirked with confidence. After absorbing the energy of the spiritual spring, he had broken through to the Golden Core realm. He thought about how troublesome his master had been before, but now, with his newfound strength, he could kill them effortlessly with just a flick of his wrist. Meanwhile, the wall of the cave shattered open as Iron Arms struck through it, revealing the way forward. On the other side stood Yunbin in a blue robe with Little Snow. Subai pointed towards them and told Iron Arms that those 2 were the ones who had trapped him in an illusion. With a calm tone, he ordered him to go and kill them. Enraged, Iron Arms roared that he did not hit women, so the man in blue would die first. With fury, he charged forward. He swung his fists at Yunbin, shouting that anyone who dared to use illusions on him deserved death. But to his shock, Yunbin dodged all his punches by moving so fast that Iron Arms couldn't land a hit. Suddenly, Little Snow took out golden coins that flitted in the air. Little Snow, with long red hair, raised her hand and formed a spell sign with her fingers. Golden coins burst from her, filling the space with dazzling power. The attack hit Iron Arms directly. The explosion of energy sent him staggering back, smoke rising from his body as his armor cracked and burned. He struggled to stay on his feet, groaning in pain, before crashing to the ground face first, blood spilling from his mouth. Yin-Yun watched in shock. She whispered that the power she had just seen was unbelievable. Lin Wangchu said it was coins falling from the sky, but she couldn't understand why it felt strangely familiar. Yunbin and Little Snow stepped forward together. Yunbin called to Subai, "Master, it has been a long time." Little Snow admitted the same, but noted with regret that their reunion had begun with violence. Suddenly she noticed Lin Wangchu standing behind Subai. Little Snow questioned Lin Wangchu. Why was her senior sister standing behind their master instead of using her sword technique to strike his heart. Confusion spread in Lin Wangchu's mind as the words "senior brother" and "junior sister" echoed. Immediately, Lin Wangchu clutched her head, crying out in pain, unable to understand who these people really were. Hearing their conversation, Yin Yun realized in shock that Su Bai was being called their master. She wondered what kind of strange organization could have such complicated relationships. Inside the Soul Banner, Bone Lord and Birdman recognized Yunbin too. Bone Lord exclaimed that Yunbin had been the master of their previous master. Birdman was equally shocked to hear their previous master's master call Su Bai master. Su Bai's expression grew cold as he demanded answers. He asked Yunbin if the plan to kill him during his tribulation had been his doing, and if he had also manipulated that glasses guy. Anger flared in Su Bai's heart as he reminded Yunbin that he had raised him for over 867 years, only to be betrayed, but Yunbin dismissed the questions and suggested they draw their swords instead. Little Snow stepped forward, her presence commanding and dangerous. As she flitted in the air, she told her senior sister that she should stand by their side, otherwise she too would be eliminated. Little Snow was shocked and confused, her eyes narrowing as she saw something unexpected. Lin Wangqiu, standing confidently with determination, had stepped forward to protect Su Bai. Little Snow was stunned because she hadn't expected such defiance. The air grew tense as they faced each other. Little Snow shouted angrily, demanding if Lin Wangqiu even knew the kind of terrible things the Su Bai she was protecting had done. But Lin Wangqiu, standing firm, glared back and replied that from her point of view, they were the true wrongdoers. Her voice was filled with conviction. Even though she hadn't known Su Bai for long, Lin Wangqiu declared her faith in him. She shouted that if anyone wanted to harm him, they'd have to go through her first. Her courage infuriated Little Snow, who snapped back in rage, summoning her coins of power and shouting that Lin Wangqiu was asking for death. Just then, Yin Yun suddenly jumped in front of Lin Wangqiu, blocking the incoming attack with swift movements. Coins spun wildly in the air after getting hit by her weapon. Yin Yun grinned mischievously, saying she loved drama and fights. How could she miss such excitement? Then she taunted Little Snow, asking what kind of grudge she had with her own master. Hearing that, Little Snow glared ahead, holding glowing coins between her fingers. In an angry voice, she said that no one should dare pry into her affairs. As power surged from her hands, she shouted fiercely, telling Yin Yun to ask her questions in the underworld instead. She released a storm of golden coins that shot forward with deadly force. Yin Yun quickly raised her wooden staff and began spinning it rapidly, blocking the incoming coins. Her staff was a treasure, but she soon realized with worry that it was about to break under the intense pressure. Meanwhile, Su Bai stood silently nearby, watching Iron Arms lay motionless on the cracked ground. He then raised his staff high and commanded Iron Arms to come into his banner. A green light surrounded Iron Arms' body, pulling him into Su Bai's banner. His sudden arrival surprised Bone Lord and Birdman. Inside, Iron Arms looked around in shock, finding himself between two intimidating figures, the Bone Lord and Birdman. Still confused, Iron Arms asked what this 10,000 souls banner was. Su Bai said in a cold voice that if Iron Arms became his servant, he would be granted an undying body. Hearing that, Bone Lord clicked his tongue and said they had gained another comrade. Birdman crossed his arms and complained that it was just another mouth to feed. Iron Arms looked around in disbelief, feeling his body again. He couldn't believe he had been revived. He wondered if these two strange figures were now his companions. Clenching his metallic fists, Iron Arms shouted with determination that being a servant was fine. As long as he lived, there would always be a chance to rise again. Watching all this, Su Bai reflected on his past life. Back then, he had ruled through strict orders and harsh discipline, which caused his followers to betray him. But this time, he wanted to change. He decided that true leadership was about balancing kindness and authority. He faced his new servants and spoke sincerely, telling them that even though they were bound to serve him, he also saw them as his friends. He promised fair rewards for their efforts in battle and vowed not to mistreat those who proved capable. Hearing that, all three of them knelt together, showing their loyalty. They shouted that they would devote their bodies and souls to their sovereign. Iron Arms also nodded with a faint smile, thinking to himself that these new companions seemed trustworthy. Then, as the next fight began, Su Bai summoned all three of them and gave quick orders. Birdman, protect Yin Yun. Bone Lord, deal with Little Snow. Iron Arms, come with me. We'll fight Yunbin together. They all responded at once, ready for battle. Yin Yun swung her staff fiercely, refusing to back down. Birdman joked that she should hide behind their sovereign, but she scoffed and shouted that she needed no protection. She clashed with Little Snow, her strikes breaking through waves of spinning coins. Just then, Bone Lord swung his huge mace to attack her, but Little Snow jumped and dodged his strike. Looking at Subai, she thought he truly was a demonic pathmaster, one who even used the 10,000 Souls banner. With anger in her voice, she said she would destroy the banner's spirits first. Little Snow glared forward, her hands glowing with golden energy as lightning crackled around her. With a smirk, she asked Subai if he still remembered this move. Raising her hand, she gathered energy, forming a massive glowing copper coin above her. She swung her arm down with force, using her treasure fall technique. The giant coin descended with crushing power. Bone Lord below tried to resist but groaned in pain. He could barely hold himself up as the heavy coin pressed him down. "This coin, it weighs more than Mount Tai," he struggled to say, his strength nearly giving out. Meanwhile, Iron Arms charged at Yunbin, shouting angrily, "You're the one who cast illusions on me! Take this fist!" He launched a powerful punch, but Yunbin didn't even dodge. He just stared at him with his white eyes. Iron Arm's eyes widened in shock as his body suddenly froze. He fell to the ground, confused and unable to move. Yunbin then looked at Subai and mocked, saying, "Master, have you fallen so low as to let trash lead your charge?" The iron-armed man twitched on the ground, furious and embarrassed, asking Yunbin who he was calling trash. But Yunbin completely ignored him and took out a sword. Holding it firmly, he acknowledged his teacher Subai's skill, admitting that everything he knew about swordsmanship came from him. With a determined look, he proposed a duel and suddenly attacked Subai with a powerful strike. The force of his swing tore through the ground, radiating energy. Lin Wangqiu nearby watched in shock. She was amazed that such a simple sword move could carry so much power. Subai also took out his phoenix sword and explained to Lin Wangqiu that this technique was called sword fall, a blade empowered by spiritual energy. He told her that it could destroy everything in its path, and he called it the ultimate sword. He told her that to counter it required the sword wall, where he swings his sword 360 degrees to create a formation of countless blades forming an unbreakable defense. "This," he said, "is what I call the toughest shield." The clash between Yunbin's sword and Subai's sword shield filled the air with explosive force. Seeing that, Lin Wangqiu was stunned. She whispered that both techniques, the ultimate sword and the toughest shield, were incredible. However, she was worried that her master's cultivation was weaker than his opponent's. But suddenly, she held her head in pain, feeling strange memories flooding her mind. She couldn't understand what kind of memories they were. She was too confused, and her mind began to overload. Seeing that, Yunbin realized Lin Wangqiu's memories were returning. He smiled and gathered a surge of power, lightning flashing around him as he descended with a sharp blade strike. He shouted to his master Subai, eager to prove his progress. Multiple swords surrounded him like a storm, their edges glowing with red energy as he charged forward. But Subai's shield blocked them. Yet that wasn't Yunbin's real attack. With a fierce swing, he unleashed his true strike. With full power, he attacked again. But Subai's blade shield formed once more, blocking his assault. Subai remained still, his expression calm as the swords neared him. But before reaching Subai, Yunbin's sword suddenly stopped. Subai glanced at him, and with a smile told Yunbin that his sword was sharp, but too fragile to withstand true strength. Seeing Subai stop his attack, Yunbin's eyes widened in disbelief. The next second his blade shattered, and he was sent flying, crashing into the ground with a cry of pain. Seeing that, Lin Wangqiu was stunned. She praised Subai's incredible skill, realizing how deep and unfathomable his strength truly was. Yin Yun joined in, saying that even the most powerful sword could not pierce Subai's defense. His power stood far above their imagination. Even Little Snow was stunned, her eyes fixed on Subai. She thought to herself that their master was, as always, full of surprises. But then, she scolded herself for such thoughts. How could she admire someone like him? No matter how powerful their master was, his wickedness could never be forgiven. He deserved death. From behind, Bone Lord, still buried under Little Snow's silver coin, let out a mocking laugh. He told her she could say whatever she wanted, but deep down, Subai would always remain her master. But suddenly, Yunbin, who was on the ground, grinned. He asked Subai, "Didn't he teach him that in battle? Everything is fair?" Saying that, Yunbin called back all the pieces of his broken sword that had fallen behind Subai. Subai was shocked by his move and looked back. But it was already too late. Before he could fully dodge, those sword pieces struck, and a sharp cut sliced across his face, leaving a thin trail of blood. His eyes widened in surprise. He turned to Yunbin and shouted angrily, "Wretched disciple! I taught you honor. Where did you learn such underhanded tricks?" Saying that, he raised his staff to cast the banner shield. Yunbin, however, only smirked and replied that results were all that mattered, not the method. As his sword pieces reassembled and completed his blade, he raised it for a decisive strike. Charging forward, he declared that this blow was unavoidable. Subai looked up, seemingly unable to dodge. Seeing that, Lin Wangqiu screamed in fear, crying out for him not to be struck. Even Bone Lord panicked, realizing that at such close range, there was no way their master could escape. Birdman feared they would all be doomed alongside him. But Little Snow was shocked at how low her senior brother Yunbin had stooped. Yet deep down, she convinced herself it didn't matter. If it killed their master, then it was justified. Just as Yunbin's deadly strike was about to hit Subai, metallic arms blocked the sword. It was iron arms. Seeing him, everyone was stunned. Yin was shocked, wondering how he was still standing. Even Little Snow's eyes widened as she realized that Iron Arms had broken free from her senior brother's suppression. Iron Arms struggled to block the incoming strike, gritting his teeth as sparks of lightning erupted from the clash. Sweat dripped down his face as he groaned in pain, trying to hold his ground. Yunbin stared at him in disbelief. He couldn't comprehend how a simple mutant from this world could resist his golden core level suppression. Gathering his strength, Iron Arms clenched his fists tightly and shouted with determination. Though he resented being bound as a servant, he couldn't stand idly by, not against the one who had once killed him, and not when his current master believed in him. Summoning all his power, he roared, vowing to fight with everything he had. With his iron fist, he struck forward, declaring that his fists would never bow to anyone's commands. With a powerful blow, he sent Yunbin crashing into the ground, the impact shaking the battlefield and scattering debris everywhere. Seeing that, Bone Lord grew motivated, and his body began to heat up. Energy surged through him as he stood up. With a thunderous roar, he declared his name, saying he would break free. His glowing eyes flared with determination as he raised his arms and lifted Little Snow's silver coin. Little Snow, standing nearby, stared in shock, realizing that a ghost had broken free from her treasure-fall coins. Something she thought impossible. Before she could react, Birdman descended from behind, telling Bone Lord it had his back, and urging him to attack together. Bone Lord and Birdman roared in unison, unleashing a surge of power as they charged toward Little Snow, ready to strike. Seeing them coming, Little Snow got angry, annoyed by their vulgar words. She muttered that their foul mouths were both amusing and irritating at the same time. With determination, she raised her glowing coin and clashed head-on with Bone Lord. Their powers collided in a burst of light, the impact sending shockwaves rippling through the area. Meanwhile, Yunbin, though injured, stood firm on the cracked ground, admitting that breaking free from enslavement showed how impressive Iron Arms' strength was. He then, with cold fury, promised that next time he would make Iron Arms beg for death. He raised his sword, creating multiple shining illusions, 48 shadow swords in total, each one as deadly as a real blade. Iron Arms tried to block, but the overwhelming assault sent him crashing into a rock wall. He coughed in pain, unable to withstand the storm of strikes. Then, out of nowhere, a glowing rope shot through the air. Yunbin's eyes widened in shock as he recognized it, the Immortal binding rope, something strong enough to restrain even sky oxen. He couldn't understand why such a powerful item was here. Before he could react, the rope wrapped tightly around his body, binding him completely. Behind him stood Subai, holding the rope firmly, ready to strike again. Seeing Yunbin restrained, Iron Arms thanked Subai respectfully before turning toward Yunbin, who was still bound tightly by the rope. Gathering power in his fist, he charged forward with determination. His expression turned fierce as he punched Yunbin with full force, sending him flying backward. Without giving Yunbin time to react, Iron Arms unleashed a flurry of punches, striking repeatedly with incredible speed. Each hit landed powerfully, shaking the ground beneath them. Watching from a distance, Lin Wangqiu cheered loudly, saying she saw everything. Yin smirked confidently. She believed Iron Arms' fists would completely crush their foe. But suddenly Iron Arms stopped as he noticed something strange. The body of Yunbin started to look unusual. His skin seemed rough and lifeless. Kneeling down, Iron Arms frowned and said something felt wrong, because Yunbin didn't look human anymore. He looked like clay. Subai immediately realized that Yunbin was using a nascent soul technique, one that allowed him to manifest his spirit. However, he also understood that performing such a technique while still at the Golden Core level came with a heavy cost. Suddenly, Yunbin's spirit emerged from the clay and smirked. He challenged Subai, asking if the so-called master had the courage to face him directly. He mocked Subai for relying on ghosts and artifacts during battle. Drawing his weapon, he glared fiercely and shouted in anger, demanding how someone so cowardly as Subai could ever dare to call himself his master.